The registration fee. The Croc Center is just moments away from the Kennedy Freeway and Q Street. Go to omahacroc.org for more information. That's omahakroc.org.
1620 The Zone.
Love them dearly. I would never want to embarrass them or hurt them. A couple of them certainly were, but they went out yesterday and had the best practice of the year. So I'm real proud of that. I went home, talked to my wife, and came back and I said to my staff, anybody, guys, any of them upset? They said, a couple of feelings of hurt. So I immediately went in the team and told them, I absolutely love you guys. I would never, ever want to embarrass you, but it's my bad. I'm at fault. My guys are the most important thing. My family and my players, outside of breathing air, they're the most important thing in my life. That's why I'm still coaching today.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
As important as the air I breathe.
He is dramatic.
Rick Pitino stepping into it, then trying to basically hose off the shoe, if you will.
See, I'm the minority opinion here that he should have doubled down. It's like,
he did double down. He did on he initially said that. Then I think it was the following Monday or Tuesday.
Like, if your feelings are hurt,
pretty much
people that want to play
down
in New York City and play at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Winning cures all this.
I hear you, and good morning, everybody. It
Hi.
is Mornings with Sharp and Handley. And Jimmy, Gary is on the road to Kansas City. Big win for Omaha last night. Yeah, 71-70. They hold on there at the very end and thwart off Oral Roberts. I think Oral Roberts hit a last-second three to make it a 1-point game with no time remaining. So Omaha will be taking on Kansas City tomorrow. We'll get to that because that race is tightened up. And if you're starting to look at mid and low major college basketball, you've got essentially headed into this weekend, you've got one more full week before conference tournament play begins. I mean, it is wrapping up. We are in our last days of February too, which is exciting because as we turn over to March, I know you guys in this studio really slam February as far as a bad sports.
February sucks. I've always disliked February.
I think it's an underrated, because if you're going to say that it's
not this February, but most Februaries in this part of the country, even when I lived in Kansas City, cold and gray, and football season.
Maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe it is the
gray,
the weather in Midwest. I know. My in-laws, they basically at the beginning of February, beginning of February, they head out to Arizona. So then you have a little envy. You probably know some people
spring training
that are all in warmer places, and you wish you could be there, even if it was just for a weekend. And yeah, you know what? Mother Nature has been very kind to us lately, but a lot of the sports stories in the month of February, as we get ready to turn into March, has got a lot of excitement. So again, everybody like you and Gary are like February 2nd worst. I don't think it's as bad as everybody wants to make it out to be.
I've never elaborated, but my birthday's in March, so I always hated February. And then March was always fun because, hey, your birthday, and then basketball really heats up.
Well,
and where I grew up, usually around that time, that was when the shorts truly came out. And we were flipping the page to spring and early summer in March. And the NBA would heat up because where I grew up and was going every game, we were in a playoff race, and we had the playoffs coming. The tournament was fixing to start, and then baseball is getting ready to start. Everything just sort of brightens up. So I've never really, now I don't have disdain for February like July. The only saving grace for July is it's summer, which, by the way, if you're a kid or not an adult, anything from like 23 younger, that's great. But when you're a grown up, I tell people, guess what? On that beautiful summer July day, you still have to go to work. So there's not much difference.
In July, though, well, see, maybe you don't, though. If you're in like the business that we're in, That's usually when you take your vacation too.
Oh.
You know, you get through the 4th of July weekend. Usually there's like an added
CWS
day thrown in on there. Yeah, you go CWS, then you go into 4th of July, and then maybe you can work in a vacation in July, and then when you get back, heck,
it's time for football.
It might be Big Ten Media Days, and then all of a sudden we're in fall camp, and then we're doing the ever so agonizing August countdown. Because that first week of fall camp, everybody's so excited and we're getting all these storylines. And then it goes ghost for a while because, as we know during that time, no information is actually good information. We're not hearing about anybody with torn ACLs or out for the season with this injury or that injury. So we're happy about that. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to help everybody out. If you really look at it, there's no bad month when it comes to sports. And in July, if you want to say that, that's fine. There's not a lot going on. But that's when you can go ahead and take vacation. You can be reacquainted with your family, and you can go out and do things in the world. And you're right, it's warm out too, so that always puts you in a good state of mind.
I like this. I didn't have this on my bingo card. Nick Handley cheering me up and uplifting me. You are my shrink today.
I am doing my best. It's Friday, guys.
Yeah, never mind the pill I take every day to help with that. You are my pill.
I'm happy to be. Hopefully, I can be everyone's pill today on this Friday. But it is. This February storylines with the teams that we cover locally have been
they're not boring. That
very good.
Boring.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have that. And this year could be, I won't say an all timer, but it's a good one. And I will admit, as try to, a lot of this it's in jest.
See, it's helping. It's helping. You're already starting to go. You're taking a turn to the positive road.
It is the one thing that I'm actually excited about to see how this all plays out, because I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, I'm this fan, or I'm in this side and that side, like the discussion you guys are having. I'm neither. Like, so it sounds terrible, but it's like, I want everyone to win because that's better for us as far as morale, but also conversation and what we do. So if you get all three teams in the tournament, and then the longer they hang around, the better. At least one of them can hang around a long time, because it's good for business, good for our bottom line, but it's good for what we do. I think the biggest disappointment would be two of them miss out, and then one gets in and flames out the first weekend. It's like, well, wait, we had all that build up. And I don't think that'll happen. I think for sure we're going to get two in this area in, and then we're going to see what happens. I know one of them's going to have a chance to make a great run, and they have the tools to do it. But I think, yeah, it's helped. So you're helping, Nick.
I'm trying to be part of the solution.
Yeah. I had the razors out. I'm going to put them away. This is good.
The solution in February, obviously, for Creighton, for Nebraska, for Omaha women, for Nebraska women, not Omaha women like in general, but the Omaha women's basketball team, Creighton women's basketball team, Nebraska women's basketball. Just win, baby. And then you got a good Nebraska baseball win last night that we'll get to. Creighton baseball's on the road trying to validate what they were able to accomplish. You know what's really unfortunate in life? Think about this one, Jimmy. When you have a day at the office and you've called a lot of basketball games.
I do, yes, I used
in fact, I'm going to use that. You call maybe the best game ever. Okay, it's a good game, and you felt like you were on top of it. You
need
brought
a cigarette afterwards.
You just and whether you have a color analyst or not, like it's like fist pump worthy afterwards.
You may not
like
have chest hair, but you suddenly have chest hair, and it's all out in its glory because you're happy.
You're excited. You're like, damn, I put my stamp on that game, and that game was really good, and I felt like I delivered that.
Yeah, you feel like the end of Boogie Nights when he's in the mirror or looking in the mirror. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly. Yes.
Look at that.
Then as you get up from your broadcast position, you're walking out, kind of strutting.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, somebody from the radio station says, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, what? Oh, you didn't know? We weren't on the air the entire time.
That would be my luck.
You're like, wait, what? And that essentially was Creighton baseball in their last game of their series last week, where they put up 23 runs, and yet they can't get through more than 4 innings, so it doesn't go down as an official game. So
were they happy though? Did they feel good?
That's the bottom line.
And Ed could tell the guys, did you feel good?
Just like if you walked away and be like, that sucks, but damn,
I was good.
I brought that home, baby. I've got that in me, and you know what? It's only a matter of time before I get to validate that. That's what Creighton gets a chance to do this weekend. I would say in a favorable schedule, but getting to go from Maryland the first weekend in 40s where they actually had to cancel or postpone games on Saturday because of accumulating snow and play a doubleheader on Sunday. They're actually going to go to Texas, so that's good. So Creighton's in action. As I mentioned, Nebraska in a 4-game series that started last night. They win. We'll get to the big story of that one a little bit later on.
No one got hurt, did they?
No.
Oh, okay.
And somebody had a good day on the bump.
Okay.
And it's a much needed good day on the bump.
You scared me for a second
Nope.
because this is kind of the PTSD being here that you're like, oh no, because
Well,
you think of Jordy Ball and you're like,
yeah.
oh no, what
the curse.
happened?
The curse, yeah.
That
Yeah.
too.
Hopefully that I don't know. Well, we'll keep an eye on Overbeek's injury that happened at the end of that series last week where he had I believe a broken bone in a finger that he's going to be out for some weeks. But yeah, you get into some huge games this weekend for all of the teams that we are keeping our eye on for March. So, I mean, this is a great end of February. And you mention it sometime. I can get on board with you guys of saying February is the second worst month if you're sort of
maybe because it's a letdown.
If you're connecting it to weather too, because usually February weather sucks, but it's been really good.
Yeah, yesterday was pretty.
Maybe that's why I'm super positive.
It's
about
a nice
February.
morning this morning. It's cool, but it's not what we have right now. Should be the high. It's 35, I think, something like that.
Let's see here. I got 37.
Heat index is about
so we
38.
are above freezing
Yeah.
at 619.
Yeah, that should be the height on a day like today.
the
But
Omaha
we're going to be in the
metro area.
50s, I think.
I want to say good morning to Kevin on
Kevin.
the Equitable Bank inbox. They take banking personally. Kevin says only the great ones are born in July. I'm assuming.
Oh, a
the
July birthday. Now that's sweet. I'm not going to lie.
I'm
For
assuming
all the
KG
poo-pooing,
is a July birthday guy.
Yeah, I bet he's had some fun. It doesn't matter what age and time of his life he is. He's had fun.
Oh yeah, he didn't specify when, but if you're born right around 4th of July too, you could have a banger. You could have a major blowout. So that's good for you, KG. And if that's your
July,
birthday month, that gets you
Live it
through.
up. I'll celebrate.
Get you through a bad sports month.
Sun's usually out.
I see. I want to advocate for February not being as bad as people think.
Nick has a January birthday, so everyone understand where he's coming from.
I do.
He's like, February's not that bad.
Yeah, it's like, Nick, were you born? So I did get engaged in February.
Okay. Not Valentine's Day, right?
No. Okay. No. That was like, I think it's the 6th, February 6th, though.
That's how you throw her off.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of because we had been ring shopping. So she knew that it was coming up.
In case you want to get married one day to somebody, it doesn't have to be me. It's
see,
what size is your ring finger?
This is good. This is good advice for the people there, Jimmy.
Kids, listen.
Sometimes you think, and I'm sure in a lot of occasions, going out on a whim and being able to surprise I guess it'd be your girlfriend at the time, not your fiance, because that happens after.
She is my ex-girlfriend. That's correct.
Your ex-girlfriend. Just can't get rid of her. Surprising them with a ring that they had nothing to do with in picking, I would say is still the gesture itself is always going to be good. And I know like a lot of people will they'll align themselves with a family member. They'll align themselves with like a best friend. And that way, if she doesn't like the ring or it wasn't her style, you don't have to take the full ownership of that. You can say, well, I talked to your sister or I talked to your best friend and they really thought this would be a good one. So you're, at least you're in it together that way. My wife has very particular taste. I wouldn't even say expensive taste, but just very unique taste when it comes to things like that. And as I got closer and closer to doing the ring shopping, I thought to myself, I have no clue what she wants. And so I reached out to one of her friends and she said kind of the same thing. I don't know if I can help you here. So,
all right, thanks.
That's where I started thinking, is it completely like blowing up the surprise element of proposing if you start doing ring shopping together? And then the more I thought about it, if I'm spending that much money on a ring, I want her to like be fully in love with it.
Yeah.
So
pick what you want. You're right.
So she started, and she did. She had very unique things that she would like to have seen, like on the design. And
whoa, what the hell's this crap on the TV?
I don't know.
Sorry, it's for those wondering. Rusty was talking about snow Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
But then right away we're back up near 70.
Yeah, and it doesn't look too crazy either. And that's fine.
A 73 Monday. All right, continue.
We have a 38-degree Wednesday with a chance of snow, but then back in the 60s, so I'm fine. So we did. We looked for a while, but there was always the whole price thing. Like, okay, this probably won't happen until maybe spring. You won't know when it's going to happen, but the whole time I had like a plan. So yeah, I kind of threw her off there. But yeah, so
do you do layaway?
And it was actually the day before the Super Bowl. Is when I did it. So again, February we have the Super Bowl. I think we get some good college basketball, because I always think if you're somebody who is starting to, I've said this many times on the show, if you're starting to get an idea of whether we're talking Creighton, and the ever so often occasion that Nebraska finds himself in the tournament conversation, as I've said many times, if you really want to make February matter, start watching those teams in detail, because they're going to give you a pretty good glimpse of what they're going to be in March. And this week, boy, we could all hope that's the case. The week that we've had with our area men's basketball teams, between Creighton with what they did with UConn, that was amazing. To me, that is, if Creighton is that level, you're not beating them. Like that game, and I know it. As of right now, it was just that game. But if they start showing that's
showed their
what
potential.
They are. Exactly. If that's what they can be on a consistent basis in March, my God, this could be really exciting.
They got great talent, got a great team.
Mm-hmm.
They have the pieces, and I'll be honest, I was saying,
and you got a great coach.
Again, not a dog in the fight. I enjoy watching them play.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a boring style bat. Now, when they get in a rock fight, that's every college basketball team is going to get in a rock fight at some point, because some teams, that's just what they do to the game. But in general, yes, I mean, they have the tools to make a run, and I get what you're saying. You're not overreact. You're trying not to overreact.
You don't say, well, that's the standard I got to hold Creighton to every game out.
It just shows that they have that potential.
Yep.
They know that, but they also would be the first to tell you, now we have to put that together for 6 games in the month of March, and that's the goal, and that's what we're going to try to do.
And
thankfully they got good health. Knock on wood.
Yes. And that's not been the Creighton story here in the last several years. The other part about that is, and we'll get to it, is and kind of how we opened the show with the Rick Pitino words, basically an apology. My issue with his whole rant was zero accountability. That
wasn't even meant for his team. That was meant for the recruits.
Well, you can put your team on blast. See, and even if it was Jimmy, this is where my biggest criticism.
Using the media to talk to his team. Phil Jackson always did that marvelously.
Old school, new school, or in between school, there needs to be a shred of accountability, though, when you're doing that. There needs to, for him as well. For him as well. If you're going to, that's my, I feel strongly about that. And I don't even care if you are, like, hell, there were times that when Bobby Knight would criticize his team, that he would, even if you knew he didn't mean it, he would say, but that's on me, or, I got to do better there. There was none of that with Rick Pitino. And
see, that's the part that got me in all that. You're going to throw your team under the bus.
Yeah.
Throw yourself under them. I got to coach. Look what Dan Hurley did. It's great.
Yes. Zero. Exactly. Dan Hurley said,
I let us down.
We didn't coach good. We didn't play good. So you're starting it off with you and your staff. Then you're going to your guys.
I've done a lot of coach interviews after games where he said, and I always respected that, because it takes a lot for the coach to say that, especially live on the air, where he says, I didn't coach well. I didn't have our team prepared to play. And you know this, and Gary knows this too, when you're around these coaches and you know the work that they put in, you feel gutted for them the more you're around them and you get to know them, because you know they mean it when they say that. It's like if Max said that to John feels for him, because he knows the work that he and his staff put in. And so when it doesn't go your way and it goes bad, say the first UConn game, for example, if you were to say that, then you feel for them, because you're like, yeah, they put in a lot of work. They're not going to be doing a lot of sleeping, and they're going to be on that flight home thinking, what could I have done better?
There were times where I would get that response when I would interview a coach, and one in particular.
And you've coached too, so you know exactly where they're coming from.
Sure. And I knew, and I mean, when I would talk to the Columbus Telegram, that was the beat that covered us. I would take ownership, but there was always one coach that I knew during a post-game interview whether I needed to ask more questions or not after a loss.
Yeah.
And I would ask a question about a particular individual or a performance by a particular individual, or this player that, and it would be the same response. And it's, I didn't have these guys ready to I didn't have these guys ready to play. I need to coach better. And then I'd ask, okay, so what'd you think about in the second inning? This happened and this happened. I didn't coach him hard enough, and I need to have him more prepared. And then I realized, okay,
this is what you're getting.
This is what I'm getting.
This is like Lane Beer after they got swept by the Bulls, and he goes, "They won."
And I think he's truly frustrated. Maybe a little bit with himself, but he's more frustrated with his team because he probably in all reality felt like he had them ready to play, but he's not going to put them on blast. So he's going to grin and bear it. And then when he addresses the team, he's going to say, when I'm talking to the media, when I'm talking to our radio guys, I jumped on that grenade. You guys better not let me down. Yes, exactly.
You owe me one. And then they among themselves.
Exactly.
We got to play better.
And maybe there was accountability with Rick
program.
Pitino with his players. I don't know.
When he truly gets his guys, I think then it sounds like I'm being overly defending of Rick Pitino.
You are being very defending of Rick Pitino.
I don't mean to do that, but I understand where he's coming from. I don't think that was a way to do it. And I think if you were going to, we both can rock a pinstripe suit.
I hope that's where you stop the comparisons.
I mean, it's not, he got in trouble, but he won that. Never mind. Like the man loves some Italian food. Who doesn't? I do. Can't eat as much of it anymore.
He likes other things at restaurants too, but anyway.
You know what? It's all about the surface and making sure you show gratitude and give him a little bit of your mind. Anyway, it sounds like I'm defending him, but the thing I agree the most about you there is if you're going to do that, then you better lump yourself in with your team.
As a great Nebraska football coach, Bo Pelini would say, sometimes you just got to point the thumb too. Point that finger. You better be pointing that thumb. And there was none of that. And even in his double down. But
does this kind of make you worry now about Sunday? The more we talk about it, the more I think about it, that you're going to get inspired. I mean, I know they just beat Georgetown.
Yeah, they beat Georgetown. They're up big.
Get at the Garden for a noon game on CBS. And
they had a good lead against Georgetown. Georgetown kind of fought back, made it a little bit more respectable. Yeah, that's kind of the thing about where if you're Creighton, you're coming off of the highest of all highs. And I think about what Creighton fans that are maybe not big Nebraska basketball fans have watched now not once, but twice of Nebraska fans storming the court, celebrating a top 10 victory, beating a number 1 team. Then Wisconsin was ranked number 6 at the time. So taking down those teams, fans, jubilation, all of that. And you're hopefully you're secure with your basketball program and the things that they've accomplished. And again, the overall expectations of this program compared to Nebraska's, but at some point that looks fun. You're celebrating with your fans. You're knocking off a top ranked team. That looks fun. And I mean, Creighton did it up the right way this week. They got to soak it in.
They had a good time.
And they should have.
Good for them.
That was a great win against a team that I don't think was playing better basketball than UConn.
And it shows to them what they can do.
It does.
And we talk about that, and it goes back to the team itself. They're okay, see, this is what we're capable of. Okay, let's build off it.
That's why Sunday,
which is why I think they'll play well Sunday.
You now have distance between that moment and then going into travel on the East Coast, taking on a St. John's team that is just, I mean, St. John's,
and it's cool.
They're not completely inept.
No,
it's not.
Soriano's still awesome.
They've got players. There's a interesting, I wouldn't even know. I don't know.
They played hard here.
I can't say if it's weird. They did. I can't say if it's weird or if it's just more in the category of interesting dynamic right now with their head coach and their players. Did they respond? Did his team respond the way that maybe he intended them to based on his recollection of practices? They did. They did get out to a big lead against Georgetown and pretty much just kind of held them at bay there at the end. So maybe the response was exactly what Rick Pitino wanted. But that's going to be interesting. That game, again, it's nothing that's going to all of a sudden, if Creighton shows up and just absolutely lays an egg, that it's going to dramatically impact their seeding. But in a way,
it'll just be disappointing. Like, all right, guys, come on, you had a good week.
It will, because
one thing to lose, but it's one thing to stink up the joint.
If you hit a high note in February, as I've said many times, this is the team that you hope that you're going to be in March. So if that's the team that Creighton's going to be in March on Tuesday, well, that's pretty damn exciting. That takes you all the way back to the preseason predictions of, can this team finally get into the Final Four? after they were so close a year ago. They've got the team to do it. There were times, remember, after the season, we said, man, Creighton might actually be a preseason top 5 team. And they were close in some polls, too.
Fair.
All of a sudden, you bring that discussion back to the forefront. But if you lay an egg on Sunday, again, does it?
See, this is why they can't go up.
Metrics and everything. Yes, it's the discussion of can we trust them? Yes, it's the whole can I trust them to play good on a Thursday or a Friday and then be able to bounce back within a day in between and have that same type of level of play.
And I actually think
in a quick turnaround.
I really do. I actually think they can. And you can't accuse me of being a homer or anything because, again, I don't have a dog in the
pregame show.
I got asked to host it. It doesn't mean I work for Creighton or went to Creighton. I mean, I like doing it because I like watching the team. But, yeah, in no way am I getting paid by Creighton. I don't even get a picture with Billy Blue Jay, which I would take, by the way.
Old Billy Blue Jay or new Billy Blue Jay?
You tell me. I mean,
it's
your hometown.
I'd go old.
Old? Okay, I'll have to look
Alien Blue Jay scares me.
He looks like he's all right. Anyway, I mean, it's a different conversation. I'll have to look up old Billy. I don't remember what he looks like.
Old Billy's just kind of unassuming.
Okay.
Just kind of old school.
Well,
yeah.
But that's me. I'd like to get a picture with Durango tomorrow.
I don't know if this is hot take, but old Billy Blue Jay logo on Creighton gear, much better than new Billy Blue Jay logo.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like Connor's hoodie.
Yeah, yes. I
do like that.
That's old Billy.
That's a nice hoodie.
It is.
I want that hoodie. Not his though. That would be weird.
Nebraska all of a sudden has a monster game. And it's at home, which is great.
It's sold out now.
It is sold out. I think there are in fact
it's gonna be a gorgeous.
It's crazy. They have what? They have Rutgers left as
Most
far as home
rivals.
games too.
Mm-hmm.
Rutgers has limited tickets available, but Minnesota, I watched the majority of that game last night against Ohio State. And by the way,
good for you, man. Talk about taking one for the team watching that.
I was scouting, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I was scouting. I want to see what Minnesota's bringing these days. But Ohio State is...
You're so much better than I am.
I feel like Ohio State got that. Our coach just got fired. We've got this assistant coach that is now our coach.
Start winning.
And they did that in the Purdue game, and I think that was just more of the flash in the pan. I got to say, Ohio State does very little. Now, it's funny. Nebraska plays Ohio State on the road next week, and despite winning on the road this week, you know how that can go. But that wasn't all that impressive. What was impressive, though, was Minnesota. Minnesota, between what they've been able to do here as of late and knowing that they are starting to play themselves into the tournament conversations, I will admit, when Minnesota took down Nebraska on the road, well, for Nebraska on the road, Minnesota at home, that game back in December. And I remember being on the airwaves with you, Jimmy, and I think Gary was gone for basketball. So it was you, John Schreiner, and myself.
I know him.
And we were sitting here talking about, I mean, gosh, and we heard your emails and tweets, and everybody was wondering, okay, is this going to be the last season for Fred? You can't have that type of, you just got blown out by Creighton, then you try to bounce back, and then you're up by 17 at one point in that game, and then you somehow get beat by Minnesota. How does that happen? And so I'll admit, watching that game, I didn't think anything of Minnesota. Now, Dawson Garcia played very little of that game, but I remember thinking to myself, that's not great win for Minnesota to come back. That was a really bad loss for Nebraska. How do you let that happen? Because there was nothing about watching Minnesota come back that I thought, damn, they're actually better than I thought. I now fast forward to watch this team here as of late. There's something with this team. And they've got, Minnesota's got a really interesting road in front of them because they've got some great opportunities if they can get some wins. Nebraska obviously would be a quad 1 win for them if they're able to do that. Then they go to Champaign. Then they're home against Penn State, home against Indiana, 2 pretty bad teams. And then they finish on the road at Northwestern. So their remaining road games, all quad 1 opportunities. Minnesota is definitely zeroing in on Sunday. And you know what? Between Elijah Hawkins and Dawson Garcia,
they're not that bad.
They can hurt you.
Yeah, so they can't overlook. But the thing is, the Huskers should want some revenge because
absolutely.
That was not a fun night for them when they played them the first time. So I think they're going to play well. The crowd's going to definitely. It's a 4:00 game.
5:30.
5:30.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful day Sunday. Rail yard's going to be bumping.
Early
I think
evening,
the crowd's
yep.
going to bring it.
They should. By the way, Zach, the Lego Maniac, in the Equitable Bank inbox says that K-State back up to 76 in the net, so they are one spot away from a Q1 for Nebraska.
They just need to go up 7 more spots.
Yep, they said they need them to knock off BYU at home tomorrow.
Most
and then
hated rivals.
K-State,
Big 12
I know, it's
grudge
so weird
match.
watching that. K-State is back. If they were to win, K-State would be in a Q1, so that would give Nebraska another quad 1. See, Zach's feeling it. He's got the February fever. He also mentions that hopefully, with what is going on at St. John's, that CJ can recruit his brother. As people know, that he is actually a pretty good player. Simeon Wilcher, who plays for St. John's right now too, could be. If he were to possibly not enjoy his commitment to the St. John's roster, that he would possibly maybe that would be a transfer portal, obviously, but his commitment with the school in the future, that he thinks to hit the transfer portal, that maybe he would consider Nebraska. Those are things. I think a lot of people, as soon as Rick Pitino went scorched earth on his own team, I think a lot of people started looking at that, not just Nebraska, like, all right, what team or what players on this team might we be interested in? But immediately everybody thought of Simeon Wilcher. It was like, well, he's CJ's brother. But like Gary said yesterday,
that's literally what he said. It's in the transcripts.
This is, CJ. I am a CJ Wilcher fan. I have been. I was over the summer because the fact that he stuck with Nebraska. I liked the way that he accepted a role last year where he was a starter, then he came off the bench, then he had to start more games. But as a starter at the end of the year, he seemed to be in a much better place. Great body language. Same thing you saw this year too. Gary was right. I went back on it because I didn't notice it as much, but I went back on it yesterday. First of all, CJ had this circus shot when everything was kind of going haywire for Nebraska in that Indiana game. CJ had this shot where I don't even know what the hell he was thinking, or he had no shot of remotely being able to convert. It was almost like he took two hands and just chucked the ball up in the air. And I swear it like hit like the backboard or something. And it almost came down and hit him. And that's when you knew, okay, CJ's having an off game. So he was, and then there was when he got taken out of the game, it looked like maybe there was some contact on him. He didn't get the call, and he was kind of barking at the bench. Like, I think they were upset that, maybe he took an illicit shot. It wasn't the same shot I'm thinking of. And he kind of clapped back. I don't know if it was at a player or at a coach, and they got him out of there because they could tell he was frustrated. And at that point, you're probably worrying that he might be a liability on the defensive end. So I don't know if his body language and his frustration was because maybe he felt like he wasn't getting some calls or he was just having an off night. But it was a lot more noticeable of some bad body language compared to so many nights when he's had good body language, even when he hasn't been, in the mix of being one of the best scorers too. So that's something to keep your eye on because, hey, Jamarcus Lawrence was an absolute stud in that Indiana game. But if Nebraska, not only I feel good about where Nebraska is going to the NCAA tournament, but if you are to make the most of that opportunity,
predict them to lose on Sunday, though.
I already did.
Okay,
I did yesterday.
They're going to lose out.
I said they're just going to get smoked.
Just
going to get smoked. But in reality, if they want a chance to accomplish history in Nebraska basketball with getting that first NCAA tournament win, you need all of those guys, those contributors, guys that have been there before.
Before you get email, by the way, it's a bit. Don't take Nick seriously. Nick's just
trying
Nick's just trying to help.
What do they got to do
team
to make you a believer? They just won on the road.
We all have our part. Nick has his, and he's trying to help.
Did you see their metrics? Gary's not here, so we can go over metrics.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate Gary's commitment to not looking at the numbers because there was a time that
both of you are all doing your things. You're picking against them, and he's not looking at. I get it.
And he was an every morning bracket guy. Now I've taken the baton and have run with the every morning bracket. Look-see. Yeah, it's fun. February, baby. It's all about February.
Mr. February, Nick Handley.
It's all about February.
Hey, there we go.
I'm here to advocate for
send it off to Cutler.
The sports month of February. It's not that bad. Number to the show is 402-951-1620. That is the hotline that is powered by 42 Degrees, the source by your mom's house. I've already been getting some activity on the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. You can email the show. I am Handley at 1620thezone.com. He is Jimmy at 1620thezone.com. And then the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. You can also get on the conversation at Nick Handley 1620 at Mornings with Sharp and Handley as well.
Yes, we have a Twitter.
We do.
Tweeted us.
We tweet.
And we get some.
We look at tweets.
They make us laugh.
It's all good.
They make us smile.
Man, my man Zach he's fired up.
Good.
He's fired up in
like
February. He's already given us three emails on the Equitable Bank
Defending
inbox.
February or anti-February?
Nothing about February. He's all about Nebraska, and he just gave me this awesome graphic. Just emailed this awesome graphic. It's got the Nebraska basketball NCAA tournament odds meter. It's like a meter, like you would go read a meter if you were working for
like
the gas
Connor
company.
And Josh's wheel.
Kind of. It's really cool, and it's kind of teetering between an 81 and 84% of Nebraska's tournament odds, and the status that is on this thing. I don't know where he got this, but this is fun. Closer to a 9 seed than a first 4 game after beating Indiana.
Okay.
Nice, Zach. Appreciate that. Let's get to Michigan, Lance, before we hit our first break on the 42-degree hotline. Good morning, Lance. How are you?
Hey, what's happening? 2 quick topics, man. College basketball, then we got to have our daily dose of Bears talk.
Okay, I'm all about it.
Hey, man, this is not about to be a chalk year, is it? I mean, how are you going to seed this thing in college basketball? Like, to me, it's the most parity there's ever been.
Agreed.
And there's no stars, man. What happened to our stars of college basketball, man? There's nobody that I don't even know anybody that's good. Where it's like, hey, I better go watch this guy, and the TV's on. Let me watch so and so.
We don't have the Caitlin Clark, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, that's not good either because that's only one person they're hyping up. I mean,
yeah.
That's not good because they're only talking about one person. There's actually other people. Juju Watkins out in USA putting up some numbers as a freshman as well. She's averaging like 27 a game. So,
by the way, she had a really bad second half. So just saying that.
Right.
I got
one
smoked.
Bad whatever, 20 some odd games.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's just like, man. So I haven't even totally crossed over yet.
No, Lance, I'll say this about the college. I'm with you. I think that this tournament has a chance to just be as wild as we've ever seen because for some of the points you bring up there too, but we continue to see AP top 5, AP number 1s get knocked off on a regular basis and top 10 teams losing to unranked teams on a regular basis. Like it's been a regular occurrence. So that leads me to believe, and I think you and myself were not alone, but wouldn't it be very, very fitting that once we get to the tournament that it is all chalky? That because everything that led us to believe that it'd be the wildest tournament, it'll end up being the most predictable tournament.
Right, yeah. It usually goes opposite.
Right.
And then we wouldn't be surprised if Nebraska makes it to the Sweet 16.
Okay. Now we're getting a little crazy.
Now we're getting a heart attack.
Getting a little crazy here, Lance, on a Friday morning, but I appreciate it.
Man, not really though. You watching these other teams out here, it's really not. But hey man, the Bears just make you want to go jump off a roof, don't they? I mean, this dude is unfollowing.
Yeah,
like we're getting this drama. I like every week we just get something to me that just doesn't make sense from this organization.
Isn't it agent behavior 101 to tell your client if he's in any type of a contract dispute or if there's any uncertainty with his future? It's like all of a sudden agency 101 of, hey, just start unfollowing them on Instagram and everybody will get talking and then people will put your name back out in the forefront and you'll be the conversation, the topic of conversation. And then everybody's you're going to have your advocates and then you're going to have your ones that are your detractors. And it's a fine mess, and no one does it better than the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. See, have a good day. Love you.
Thanks, Lance. We love you too.
Yeah, we do too.
Oh, you weren't talking to us? Okay, never mind.
Oh no, sorry. Not at all. But yeah, that is the new. I forgot about that. Did what's his name? The little kid the little quarterback that plays a lot of video games.
Oh, Kyler Murray. Yeah, Kyler Murray. Yeah, he did a social media scrub.
That says a lot about Kyler.
The little guy who plays a lot of video games.
I'd love to hear a coach say that. A little guy who plays a lot of video. We like him.
That is good.
It was in the Scott chat today. But didn't he start that unfollowing? I don't know.
Yep.
It seems like he started that unfollowing.
He did the social media scrub. Yep.
Yeah, and then here we are. So, But yeah, man. So we'll see what happens. But as the world turns, Chicago Bears.
Lance, I forget because I think we've talked about this a lot, but I don't know if I've got anything definitive. Are you team Justin Fields or are you team Caleb Williams or any other quarterback?
I'm gonna have to go with Caleb Williams. Not that I dislike Justin Fields. It's just like we gotta find a guy that we know is the guy off top, man. We need to keep searching. So until we got to get somebody, man. Like I actually think Justin Fields would do better.
Yeah,
another organization.
I do too.
That's better than us. But yeah, we need Caleb Williams who can overcome our dysfunction. So.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, fellas, have a good weekend. Talk to you later.
Thanks, Lance. That is Lance, Michigan Lance, our man. Yeah,
he loves us.
I'm there with Lance. I'm not. It's not like the time when they were trying to get rid of Mitch Trubisky. That I was like, God, you could not get him out fast enough. Like, what's taking so long? The Justin Fields part of it is, to me, inconclusive. And I'm with Lance. I feel like he'll go somewhere else if this is the route Chicago goes, and he will just ball out somewhere else. I mean, it would be
usually how it goes.
Yeah, it'd be very typical Bears of like, you just had a guy there. He left, and now look what he's doing to just kind of twist the knife in a little bit more. And then Caleb Williams will be a bust. Or they'll decide, you know what? It didn't work out with one North Carolina quarterback, but we're going to go with another North Carolina quarterback, number 10, and Drake May. And let's see how that goes. And then it'll go like Mitch Trubisky. So I don't know. These are the things that I expect.
I understand.
Yep. I have
a similar outlook to my team. Different, but similar.
Yeah, different. You guys have different levels of disappointment than Chicago.
Either way, we all end up disappointed when it gets to February, which circles everything back.
Terrence on the stream, by the way, we were talking about the engagements, rings. He said, good rule of thumb: if the woman isn't excited by whatever you choose to give, you might want to find someone else. Not for everyone, but mostly. You know what, Terrence? It's not, and I don't want to make it sound like my wife, if I would have just did something solo and on my own, that she would have not liked it. But you know, Terrence, you're right. If you are going the surprise route with absolutely zero reference to what she wants as an engagement ring, and she poo-poos it, Terrence is right. Maybe you want to think about the commitment you are about to make. That's what I'm saying.
Especially if she literally poo-poos it, then you might want to. It's kind of gross.
Dion must have just joined us late because he wanted to know. Is Gary...
He might be, but he still won't join us, Dion.
Yeah, he said, is Gary pooping or something? No, Gary is.
That's a him, Dion. I don't know. He's not here today.
They're not. They wouldn't be flying to Kansas City. They got to be busing.
No, they're busing.
Yeah, it's a bus. They're on the bus. They got an early practice in Casey. They couldn't practice at SAP today because the field house has got other stuff going on. So they're getting out to Kansas City a little early, get a little practice. Maybe. And you know what?
Hit up Oklahoma Joe's after.
Enjoy a beautiful
Q39?
day in Kansas City. Heck yeah. That's right.
Damn, I should have said that.
No, that's kind of and you know what? It's his city.
It is his city.
He's a Chiefs fan. So
yeah. He'll be that guy. He'll be hanging out with that wolf fella.
Yeah. Amazing Daniel says, maybe fair, but if you're not in tune enough to know what she likes, maybe she might want to find someone else. Okay, so now I like this. The conversation is now going back and forth. Amazing Daniel.
Good job, Nick Handley.
See, you know what? And I'm not trying to be Switzerland here, but Terrence makes a good point, but I think Amazing Daniel makes a good point too. If you're in sync with that person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, you should have an idea of the things she likes. And if you throw something that is completely opposite to her taste, do you really know her? Yeah. This isn't even Valentine's Day. We're past that, and we're talking about this still. When we come back.
Welcome back to Relationship Talk.
Hey, I'll do what I can
on
here.
1620 The Love.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Friday.
KLUV, Omaha.
It's a beautiful morning for lovemaking out there. As you're getting up, getting your cup of coffee. All right, so
just don't kiss anyone after coffee breath.
I prefer coffee breath over morning breath.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to choose, at least give me a hint of coffee as opposed to the funk that just resides in our mouths overnight, especially if you had onions. Man, brush all you want before you go to bed. That ain't going away. It's the worst.
Are you eating those damn things like apples?
I'm eating onions in bed. Yeah. Just like,
I mean, to
like
each their own.
Yeah. Hey, some people like onions.
It's an aphrodisiac.
Some people like it.
Some people need hymns or what are we, mentality?
There was
onions.
There was a very positive development last night for Nebraska baseball that we'll get to. We've got to get into all of these weekend matchups too, with Creighton at St. John's, Nebraska hosting a big matchup against Minnesota as well. Got a big hockey weekend. Omaha is in one of the tightest conferences I can think of when it comes to where they might fall seeding wise in the Summit League tournament. And as Lance kind of alluded to, as we were talking about the NCAA tournament and talking with Gary and having a chance to watch Omaha and South Dakota State, which right now South Dakota State is the top team in the Summit League, and watching Omaha, who should have won that game on Saturday against South Dakota State. I know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. That could be very interesting tournament up in Sioux Falls in a little more than a week. So we'll get into all of that as we continue here on a Friday. Glad you're with us. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy and Nick. Gary will be back with us on Monday here on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
It's the most time-honored tradition to start the weekend, grabbing a cold one from a local Nebraska brewery. Let's be real here. It's cold outside, and you don't want to drink the same boring beer as those Hawkeye fans. Drink Nebraska-brewed beer, cider, or seltzers instead. Each week, we're putting the spotlight on a unique Nebraska brewery with One Beer Friday. Share your brew on social media with the hashtag One Beer Friday, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card to a local Nebraska brewery. Nebraska is the good life with great beer. Click nebraska.beer to learn more.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie, piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that we can give our daughters everything they need to grow and learn. But not every child can focus on classes and play dates.
Nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. face hunger. That's 1 in 6. School lunch might be their only meal each day, and it's heartbreaking to imagine any child going to bed hungry. We're dreaming of a perfect day when kids can smile, play, and just be kids without worrying about where their next meal will come from. Feeding America is working to make that perfect day a reality.
Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. That food is given to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about doing things that make an ordinary day extraordinary. Learning to play an instrument, building a sandcastle, hosting tea parties. Hunger should never be an obstacle to growing up.
You can help end childhood hunger in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
It's a new year and new savings event going on right now at Acura of Omaha. More than 150 pre-owned, certified pre-owned, and special purchases to choose from. See all the bargains online at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Are you a delivery driver looking for a better job opportunity? Host Coffee is a local family-owned coffee, water, and vending company that has been in business since 1972. We are growing, and we now have openings for delivery drivers and other positions starting at $22 an hour with full benefits. If you're interested, visit hostcoffee.net/careers to connect with us.
Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Shop Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram during Ram Truck Month and save on the entire lineup of heavy-duty trucks. Like the powerful and capable new Ram 3500 with an array of safety and tech features that will take your driving experience to the next level. Right now, get up to $15,500 off MSRP on our lineup of 2024 Ram 2500s and 2024 Ram 3500s. The most advanced Ram heavy-duty pickups ever. Get started today at WoodhouseCDJRBellevue.com or WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com to find your next truck. Based on standard and available features offered with approved credit, tax title license extra. Woodhouse discount of $3,644. Manufacturer incentive of $9,856. $1,000 for qualifying trade and $1,000 with finance through Chrysler Capital. $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires 2/29/24. See dealer for details.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
I want to get to, we got a lot to get to with the big college basketball weekend, and not just for local teams too, but we've got some big matchups tomorrow as things heat up. Conference race, Big 12 race is going to be pretty damn good. The Big 10, outside of just the obvious in looking at Nebraska and if they could potentially get a double bye or not, Northwestern, which, by the way, did you see Northwestern's uniforms last night?
I did not.
They did like the nod to the city of Chicago. So you had like the light blue and red with like the stars.
UIC does that.
Yeah, they were really cool. And I'm a big fan of like that look. I've got a golf towel that's like that. They were cool. Now they're not something I think you wear more than once, but if you're just doing it for one moment, you could do a lot worse because as we all know, Northwestern is Chicago's Big Ten team.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Many people forget.
It is true. There's billboards that say it in Chicago. I've seen them. But I mean, Purdue, they've stretched that lead in the conference with a win last night. And smoked Rutgers, by the way. That had a lot of people. I mean, we even talked to Brian Edwards. That 15.5-point spread looked like it might be a little beefy. That could be an enticing.
They always seem to know things.
Purdue, though, they smoke Rutgers last night. So they're now 13-3 in the conference. They are 2.5 clear of Illinois. That's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back after getting upset by Penn State at the Rec Center. Wisconsin is right there at 3 games behind. Northwestern's 3 games behind. Nebraska, Michigan State, 4 games behind. So if it were all to begin today, Nebraska would be playing on Thursday, but you are 1 game behind Northwestern. But the Big 12, man, I'm telling you, and you know this to be true. If Kansas is lurking, if you're anybody in the Big 12,
calls at Allen Fieldhouse,
yeah, right?
Oh.
Well, out of all the teams in the Big 12 and the new look Big 12, out of all the teams, who would you put your most confidence in as far as anything being slanted? Of course, it's going to be Kansas. But Kansas is 2 games back. Baylor's 2 games back. Texas Tech is 2 games back. Iowa State is in second, just 1 game behind Houston. So that is going to be a very, very interesting finish there in the Big 12. And how about that? In the first year of expanded realignment Big 12, that it is not Kansas on top right now. It's Kansas chasing. But here's the slate in Big 12 hoops on Saturday. Texas is at Kansas. You've got Houston at Baylor. I mentioned Baylor is one of those teams like Kansas that's just a couple of games back. West Virginia's at Iowa State, not a big one there. As Zach mentioned, BYU at Kansas State, that's an interesting one that as a Nebraska perspective, you're probably wondering if Kansas State can win that game and they can creep inside the top 75, and then you're looking like a Q1er. That could be the motivation right there, not necessarily for Kansas State. I don't think Jerome Tang is giving a pregame speech of, hey, guys, we need Nebraska's victory over us to look better. So we got to win this game.
I don't think Jerome Tang's going to be at K-State next year, but you go on.
That could be. BYU, by the way, is playing really good.
Not because he's getting fired. He's leaving. That was happening months ago.
Yeah, we'll see. BYU, though, they had a very good win this week against Baylor. They come into the Octagon of Doom. So, yeah, there's some really good games there. But getting back to the top 25 slate tomorrow, other than the Big 12 games that I just mentioned to you right there, where was it? You got Duke at Wake Forest. That's a big one for Wake Forest. They're trying to play for their tournament lives. Iowa at Illinois is huge because, well, first of all, Illinois coming off of that loss to Penn State, that was sort of inexplicable. And then Iowa all of a sudden has made their way into NCAA tournament conversations. They've played themselves into that role. They've still got two great opportunities on their schedule where they play Illinois not once but twice still. Looking at the rest of Iowa's schedule, they've also got Penn State and Northwestern. So, again, like Minnesota, you've got some good Q1 opportunities there, 2 against Illinois and 1 against Northwestern with that Penn State game there too. So that Iowa-Illinois game should be another good one. South Carolina at Ole Miss. North Carolina, Virginia. Telling you, Virginia's out of the top 25 right now. Virginia put up 16 points in one half of basketball earlier this week on Monday. They barely got to 40 points and lost. But Virginia and North Carolina being kind of leaky, that's a sneaky good game in the afternoon. Alabama and Kentucky, that should be a great matchup. Nova at UConn. We'll see how UConn responds. That's a Big Fox primetime game Saturday night. Also, don't sleep on old Colorado State at UNLV. Another one that could be interesting. So, another great slate of college hoops this weekend. And then, of course, Nebraska and Creighton both playing on Sunday. Purdue will be at Michigan, Xavier Marquette, amongst others. So, some good stuff happening. When we come back, though, we are going to talk a little Nebraska hoops, also Nebraska baseball, Creighton basketball. I want to get into that. There was a story that I saw yesterday that is it's predictable, but it's unfortunate in the golf world. We'll get to. We are going to be talking about the EA Sports game, Jimmy. I know you're excited about. Did you hear, by the way, that it's going to cost $70?
Okay,
$70
so I'll ask for a raise
for it. Wasn't it like 40 when we were all gaming?
I mean, to be fair, in EA Sports defense, I saw a commercial for a food place the other day advertising a $7 meal deal, and I responded with an expletive like, wait, that blankety blank is $7 now? That used to be the $3 meal deal. Yeah. What the blank?
Yeah.
Followed by blank you.
Inflation. They just drive away.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, sorry.
I don't need to eat.
Ain't happening.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
We have plenty of kibble at home. Ooh, never mind.
Speaking of Husker baseball and a little football, we're going to talk to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald at 8:30. But we are going to talk about that EA Sports game, the college football game that each person, and we'll get into this a little bit, but we'll talk more about it with Matt Brown from Extra Points.
It's our old friend.
Yes. And he will give us what you can, not only what you can expect from the game itself, what people are talking about, but what the players, what each student athlete, over 11,000 opting in, and what they get for that.
They get money in a free game.
They do. And it's not chump change either. I mean, it's not like they're not making like, thousands and thousands of dollars, but they're getting some money there.
It's nice. They could afford that $7 meal deal.
And we will have our good old friend Matt Verzel be joining us at 9:20.
That's one place I think I'm going to hit up tomorrow.
Paisans?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. That sounds like
I already have my order.
Every day sounds like a good idea.
Actually, tomorrow's a celebratory day. That's why we're having a birthday party tomorrow.
Oh, well, even better. And celebrate
Just
with
random.
Celebrate with a pie from Paisans.
Yep.
But Verge joins us.
Birthday tomorrow.
Our line powered by the rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. So when we come back, awesome stuff from a certain individual for Nebraska when it comes to their hopes of having a good season in baseball. This guy is much needed, and he showed out last night against a solid Grand Canyon team. We'll talk about that. Jimmy's got an update coming up on the other side of the break here. Mornings with Sharp and Handley, 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the NRG Media Time Saving Traffic Center, it's a quiet Friday morning. No accidents or delays reported in the Omaha Metro. However, you could expect delays on Cass between 84th and Dodge as there's one-lane travel in both directions as repairs are being made from yesterday's water main break. And the northbound on-ramp to I-680 from Pacific will be closed until tomorrow evening due to construction. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Lauritsen Gardens. Experience Brick Live Brickosaurs, now open at Lauritsen Gardens. Come face-to-face with a herd of incredible brick-built dinosaurs, discover prehistoric plants, and unearth a ton of fun. To plan your family's dynamite adventure, visit lauritsengardens.org.
Email any of our shows anytime into the Equitable Bank inbox. At Equitable, we take banking personally. For me, John at 1620thezone.com. The Equitable Bank inbox from 1620 The Zone.
Hey guys, it's Nick for Hims. How many times as a guy have you heard, hey, you need to fix that? Whether it's something at home, whether it's something at work, or it's your overall healthy lifestyle. You're always looking for the fix. Well, the good news is Hims can help you. Through Hims, you can upgrade your daily routines with prescription treatments that can make a big difference and help you regain your confidence, help you feel like yourself again. So if you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. The entire process is 100% online, so the conversation stays between you and a medical provider that you can chat with through hims.com. And since it's all online, that means no doctor's offices and no pharmacies, just solutions that can bring real results. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START.
At Sid Dillon Chevrolet, we want you to have the best car buying experience possible. Shop Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer group or at SidDillonChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, I never smoked a cigarette. How in the hell did I get lung cancer?
I don't smoke. I've never smoked. So I started Googling. One word just kept coming up, like it was in bold and red, and it was radon.
Radon is the #2 cause of lung cancer.
Well, you don't know if it's in your home. You got to test. You can't see it. You can't taste it. You can't smell it.
What's your level? Radon Defense Midwest can help. Visit radonradio.com for a special offer. That's radonradio.com.
The back seat. Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Big basketball weekend. Omaha hits the road to face the Roos of Kansas City tomorrow after they hold on to beat Oral Roberts 71-70 last night at the Baxter. Frankie Fiddler scores 16, that's 13 boards. The Omaha women lose 87-78 in Tulsa. It's their final road game as they fall to Oral Roberts. They fall to 6-21 overall in the season, 2-12 in conference play. They'll host UMKC tomorrow at high noon. Creighton is at the Gaddon, world's most famous arena. They face St. John Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I can't talk. CBS game, and we'll get you started with shoot around at 9 a.m.
Breakfast shoot around.
Yeah.
Anything special?
No.
Anything special for breakfast?
As long as there's coffee, we're good.
Okay. I didn't know if you're going to, go all in. Maybe a breakfast sandwich or a breakfast burrito. That would be my choice.
Sound fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be my
I
choice.
have decided that I'm going to bring brunch when I come home.
Is this the earliest shoot around we've had?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it'll be over at 10:30. I'll be in my car by 10:32.
Look at that. You dig in for a nice Sunday of hoops.
Pick up brunch, and then I'll get home just in time for the game to start.
Then maybe a little nap in between games of Creighton
yes.
and Nebraska. Oh, it just sounds like a fun Sunday right there.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Jake that asked, isn't that weird? It's early, coming at 9 to do it. And I said, when you come in before the ass crack of dawn, it's 5 o'clock.
That's true.
9 o'clock's good.
Yeah.
Plus, it gets the old body clock because I don't roll in here at 8:58. I actually have to read and do research to somewhat sound competent about what I'm talking about. Pretend like I know things.
Oh, 9 a.m. sleeping in, man.
So I'll come in maybe like 7.
Yeah.
Which again I would take 7 on the weekday if I was coming in right now. Although I shift is not having to deal with much traffic.
Not much traffic, and right now though it's gorgeous, and we get to see it all happen, go from dark to now, just a beautiful sunrise.
Damn, Mr. Positivity Handley.
The little things on a Friday.
Who knew Nick Handley's exactly
little
what
things
my
on
mental
a Friday
health
in
needed.
February too. Our last Friday of February.
This is true.
Yeah.
The Fighting Flans host Villanova tomorrow morning at 11 for their annual Pink Game, a contest that'll be nationally televised on Big Fox. I think that's cool. I like that. Omaha can be on TV.
Yep, they should be.
We have TVs. Anyway.
I have some.
Yeah. Where are we? Sorry. Nebraska ball hosts the Gophers Sunday at PBA. Game is sold out. The U-Betchas host Minnesota tomorrow at 4 o'clock for their senior day. Baseball. Yes, it's baseball season. Well, college baseball season. Nebraska's potential ace outdueled Grand Canyon's established one as Nebraska beats the Lopers, not those Lopers, the other ones of Grand Canyon 7-2 last night out in the desert. I actually seen their campus, so when you said everything was pretty, I can
baseball
confirm this.
field
It
too.
is pretty out there,
Yeah.
though we got similar weather to them. So there,
Mm-hmm.
they have mountains though. Drew Christo, quality start, longest, perhaps most impressive appearance of his college career. Phoenix native Tyler Stone had a 2-run homer.
Mm-hmm.
RBI extra base hits from Dylan Carey. Josh Karen provided additional support. How about that? Oh, the Lopes.
Teamwork, man.
Same thing. Not to be confused with Davey Lopes, the former Dodger great.
Would be Carney Lopers.
4-game series at Grand Canyon continues tonight at 7. What's this about here? Oh, after kicking off the season with 33 runs and a pair of victories in Maryland, Creighton baseball heads to Texas for the Sugarland Classic in my old stomping grounds at Houston, Texas. The Blue Jays face Houston Christian today. UTSA, hey, I know them.
And then Illinois, Chicago, because that just reeks Texas.
You know what? When you think about great Texas powers,
Yeah.
you think of Houston Christian, UTSA, and of course UIC.
And Illinois, Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, they got to play in warm weather too.
It's true. They could come play here.
Mm-hmm.
Omaha baseball's second road series of the season this week is out in California. They face Long Beach State in the LBC. Yep. Starting tonight at 8 o'clock.
Another cool baseball field setup there in Long Beach State. They actually have so the press box is connected with like their suites, and so they actually have like a runner going into each suite to see if you need anything, and they would actually go into the press box
Then
too,
for pillow?
and they would say, "Hey, do you? Yeah, like, can I cool off your drink, or can I warm up your coffee, or can I get you an appetizer? Yeah.
Could I pat your bottom? For
I don't know if
half
they
an
realize that we're just the radio and not the high rollers, but yeah, Long Beach State, they do it well.
Oh, they're massaging me during the inning.
Yeah.
Oh, the 2-2. Oh, right there.
My shoulders are barking. Can you work out that? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I've seen some movies that start out like that. Omaha hockey hosts 10th ranked Colorado College for 2 at Baxter starting tonight at 7:07. Nick Handley will be there. Will you?
You know who else will be there?
A lot of fans.
Big debut for our man, Connor Happer. He is the in-game MC for the first time ever. Yes. So we got 6
He
a.m.
is
to
a
2
man of
p.m.
all the schools.
He is
What do you
now
call that,
fully
a
blue, red, and
J-curve?
black. He is blue, red, and black.
Who's the normal MC?
Andrew Rogers, who is no longer
yeah.
in
I
Nebraska.
remember
He
him.
has moved to St. Louis. Andrew,
Go Cards.
good dude.
Not really, but
and then the other person, and I don't know if she's not available this weekend because I know they asked Connor to do it for both games.
So
is,
Happer's the
Marissa
Jason
Voss.
Garrett. Cowboy fans know what I'm talking about. Not clapping Jason Garrett. Old Big Red on Thanksgiving 1994.
I'm excited to be able to turn it over to. All right, now let's set it over to Connor Happer of. I'm gonna even say it of the Connor Happer Show on 1627. Look, we got 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. covered at the game tonight. It's great. Now we just need to get John or Josh part of it, and we can have 6A to 6P.
Maybe you could get Mr. Circa Nick to join.
Yeah,
us.
that's right. Nick's probably got some. He's probably got some hot action.
He's the
on the
face
game
of
tonight
1620 The Zone Gambling now.
I better ask Nick what are we looking at as far as the odds tonight for Omaha and CC.
Find out why Nick Grimm could one day be known as Nicky Two Toes.
Maybe he'll be in his like own little. We could bring Nick up there. He could be in like a little Circa booth.
Ooh.
Where you could get some cool Circa swag.
Yeah,
and then Nick could give you some gambling tips.
You could take a picture with him.
Yeah.
Look at us
with the fresh cut Nick Grimm too.
Yes,
He's got a fade.
He is.
The fade's starting to fade a little bit. It's been 2 weeks, but he's got a fade.
And his fortune faded. All right, let's finish this. In something that is very much on brand for the NFL's evil empire, the Kansas City Chiefs signed punter Matt Ariza, who was dismissed in December from a lawsuit alleging the rape of a 17-year-old girl in 2021. The Chiefs they go all in on. I mean, he was dismissed and all that, so he's innocent. But
he was.
Still,
those were alleged accusations.
They'll fit right in with that fan base. Not all of them. Not the ones here. We actually have some really good Chiefs fans up here in Omaha. I can actually say, and I'm not even talking about Gary, I'm just talking about other people, but I'm talking about people I interacted with down there, people we ran into. It's different. Anyway, Tommy Townsend, who I'm a fan of, great hair. The Chiefs punter in each of the past 4 seasons, good punter too, whenever he rarely punted, is scheduled to be an unrestricted free agent next month. And in all seriousness, the Chiefs always have a plan. They're not going to overpay for that. So he'll be a good punter out on the market. The girl identified in the lawsuit as Jane Doe dropped Ariza from the lawsuit filed in August of 22, and Ariza agreed to dismiss a defamation suit against Doe, a female deer, filed in July of 2023. Oh, Christ, I don't want to end on that. Okay, Chargers offensive coordinator Greg Roman told reporters yesterday, I like this, that he is confident the Chargers will establish a consistent running offense, which he expects to elevate quarterback Justin Herbert. He says, sounds like something I'd say, can you imagine Justin Herbert with a great running game? In parentheses, competent coaching too. We don't know, but I can imagine what it might look like. So that's kind of the vision. The Chargers last had a feared rushing offense over a decade ago. Really?
Well, lightning bolt overreaction was calling for them to run the ball a lot more.
They haven't had a consistent running game since they had Natron. That's a lie. They had LaDainian Tomlinson.
I got to ask my buddy. They used to have a Chargers reaction show that a guy would say, I want to hear from a Charger fan in Palo Alto. And then he'd always say, show me your lightning bolt.
Yeah. That sounds like Hacksaw Hamilton.
Kind of.
I wonder if it was him.
Maybe. I don't know.
Former voice of the Chargers.
It might have been.
Legend out there.
I want to hear from a Charger fan in DeKalb, Illinois.
You know what?
Show me your lightning bolt.
I'm just rooting for the entire AFC West to become good.
I know
Except
why.
one team.
Yeah. You want to see one team go while the rest of teams go wee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we all go wee.
I would.
I would too.
Yeah.
And then I would go wee wee in excitement. Speaking of, kind of stick with me here. Add the potential of see-through pants we talked about yesterday to the growing list of complaints regarding MLB uniforms set to be used this season with spring training games beginning yesterday. We talked about
Their
that.
problem.
Yeah, MLB Players Association is talking to its members to gather feedback on the controversy while hoping changes can be made for opening day. Tony Clark, remember Tony Clark, executive director of the MLBPA, it's disappointing that we've landed in a place where the uniforms are a topic of the discussion. I agree, Tony. Each conversation with the guys is yielding more information with what we're seeing. Yeah. The Nike-generated Fanatics-produced uniforms have been dubbed performance jerseys. That's what they call them by commission. It's like when they call a house, oh, this thing is in an up-and-coming neighborhood. That usually means bad things happen in this neighborhood. I wouldn't buy the house. Yeah. But go ahead, up and coming. This house has character. It means it's a money pit.
It's making a turnaround.
This is a good investment.
Yeah, it's a good investment.
I'm buying a house. I'm not opening a 401k.
You're not buying for what it is now. You're buying for what it
I could
be.
die tomorrow. Why do I care what this house is in 10 years? I won't be here in 10 years. Anyway,
you know what, Jimmy? Sometimes people look at things through different lenses.
I look at them through realistic lenses. Rob Manford said they were used at last year's All-Star games. Many players admit to a lighter feel to them, but have issues with the look. I wonder why. Because the fabric is lighter. Clark
Because
says.
they skimped.
Yes, to have bigger numbers and
cut
letters.
some costs.
Hence, complaints on the back of the jersey looks amateurish. Yeah, that's not the main complaint. And some say the eggshell color of the pants, the fabric is the same as last year, is creating a see-through vibe. The fit has also come into question. So if you're people like A-Rod, who doesn't play anymore, but if you know, you don't mind the see-through pants, but not everybody is as blessed as A-Rod.
Well,
so
yeah, there's there could be some bashful gentlemen.
We had somebody on the stream yesterday talk about that. I was like, he's at the plate, he's swinging 2 bats.
Yep.
Those people don't mind about the see-through pants because it's all about the marketing, and they could have some nice Anyway,
but that just can create more problems for them in their social life too. Everybody want a piece.
It depends. Depends what you want from your social
true.
life, especially when you're on the road.
That is
several
true.
months out of the year. Each camp seemingly has a different issue, including some that are worried about supply chain problems that led at least one player to tell Clark he might have to go to Dick's Sporting Goods for spare pants. I'm telling you, these jokes just write themselves.
Oh, that is good. That is good. I was cleaning out my closet just the other day, and I still had some and they were probably the most comfortable baseball pants I ever had. I don't know why I still had them.
Because they're comfortable, obviously.
And
you could give them to Reese because
it's not like I
comfortable.
wear them for PJs or anything like that, but they were there. I think I might have, no, I don't, I'm not.
Role playing?
I'm not pants wearing softball guy. So they were there. I got rid of them. They were Russell Athletic ones. We had these in Columbus. And I remember when we got them, they were the most comfortable things. And I remember they were described as, oh yeah, these are the full length flare. So they had
I feel like, what the hell's that?
They
mean?
had flare at it's like they had like the boot flare. So basically it had
like when we used to cut slits in our jeans in high school.
Yeah, it didn't have
late
a
90s.
It did have a slit in the jean though. It sort of flared out so it could cover the top of your shoes because that was an important thing.
Okay, I get
Yeah,
that.
so it like flared out.
I got you.
They were really, really comfortable. Like extremely comfortable.
Like scrubs.
And you know what? They were white with black pinstripes.
Ooh.
They did not. There was no seeing through those bad boys at all.
Don't throw those away if they're comfortable.
I did.
You have.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't throw them away. I donated them to Goodwill.
You should have donated them to your son.
Well, then go to Goodwill and get them. Probably get a good deal on them.
Don't tell me you're his dad.
He's not. It's going to take him a long time to be able to fit in those pants.
With that attitude, he's a growing boy.
I hope I'm still around when he's that tall.
See, that's
I'm an older dad, but
This is stuff I can relate to.
D Pick on the stream says Debbie Downer Nick predicting a CC sweep this weekend, and then he also said Josh is not allowed at our hockey games. Well, I got news for you. I know Josh has been to a hockey game or two.
Which Josh?
Josh Peterson.
Okay, I just want to specify.
Well, and Odson's been there, and I know for a fact too. Odson's been there with his kid, and Odson has been there for a victory. I don't know.
Good things happen when Josh Hodson's around.
I think if I remember correctly, when Josh Peterson was at a game, I want to say it was earlier this year. Maybe it was at the end of last year.
I'll support my fellow Cowboys fan.
And I think they also won. So whether you want someone at the game or not, what's their record?
Mm-hmm.
You got to ask that question. What is their record?
Yeah.
We'll see what Connor brings tonight.
Should be in the media notes, just like Rob would have those in the Creighton media notes.
Yeah, you'd know about certain people who attend games, what their overall record is, maybe what their record is against certain teams
on home games played on weeknights,
and certain teams, which is important
against colleges who play their home games south of the Mason-Dixon line. Here's the 1-1 fouled, and it's 1-2.
To D Pick's first comment, though, boy, this is a huge series, and we'll get into it a little bit later on.
A lot of colleges 10th ranked.
But here's as far as my prediction. Remember when I went all, as he said, Debbie Downer. That was the Denver series, and I wasn't feeling it. And they did get swept. In fact, they looked pretty bad in that one. So,
I don't
but
know.
Then when I predict against Nebraska,
see, I don't know where this works when it comes to Omaha hockey.
Yeah, I do the opposite. I don't know how to go about this because even a split this weekend would be huge.
Just go for the sweep.
That's what I'm hoping for. I want to get to Drew
Corey
Christos.
tweets at us, says, "Got to have a sweep maps." Come on, boys.
Yeah, Corey. This is a big one.
I'm gonna be with Corey here.
I'll see Corey at the game.
Never
Corey's
mind
always off
split.
to my right. His Jersey game is always on point as well.
Give me a sweep. We haven't been to a hockey game this year. We've had fun at those. We took some kids there. We rented some kids last year and took them there.
You rented kids and took them to.
I loved it.
Where does one rent a kid at?
Oh, Amazon.
You can rent things there now too. Okay.
They do everything. I had a 6-year-old last year or a couple years ago convinced that you could buy babies on Amazon because Bezos sells everything.
This was really good from Joel on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at J Chavez 3 at Nick Handley 1620. And a growing community also means a Dollar General and a car wash is being built. That's true.
It's just like when I was interviewing for radio jobs in college, I learned that most small towns you could get a Pizza Hut and a Subway in it.
Oh, yeah.
No, this was 2006.
Yeah,
I don't know if this applies today, but
you usually hit a certain population status when you are able to bring in a Walmart. But
yes,
you can, but you don't have to, as long as you're probably like at 3,000 plus population, you're getting yourself a Subway and a Pizza Hut in there for sure.
I once took a job because they had a Wendy's in the town.
I mean, that's smart. I mean, if you're going to,
the place wasn't bad either. And the boss was to this day, one of the best bosses I've ever had. But
if
he
I
sold me on the Wendy's, and he actually played that up in the recruiting to me. I respected that.
Oh yeah.
He told me it's actually healthier and it doesn't make you as unhealthy.
Did he say now did they have breakfast at the
Not
time?
yet. This was a long time ago.
See, I would have sold breakfast too. But and the great thing about Wendy's is they're open for
the ironic
breakfast.
thing is in that town anymore, they no longer have said Wendy's.
That's no good.
No.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah.
In 1 hour, we're going to be talking.
Don't choose your jobs the way I do.
Well, people prioritize things different. Some people want to know about the benefits. Some people obviously want to know about the pay. What's your vacation policy? Others, hey,
they have a Wendy's.
What type of fast food options do I have?
Or in one other town I worked in, they have mountains there, and it was not in Colorado.
Oh,
so a friend of mine said, "Oh, it'll be like Colorado," except it wasn't Colorado.
Where was it?
Wyoming.
It's like Colorado's little brother.
Yeah, we didn't stay there long. Too cold.
Not as much to do there as there is in Colorado.
Pretty.
It is very pretty.
Met some nice people.
If you can just bask in that, in the splendor of nature, then you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you desire a little bit more options, entertainment wise, I'd probably go.
When you're in your early 20s, yeah.
Just again, I'm not knocking Wyoming. I probably
not at all.
I probably shouldn't be voicing the tourism spots.
I've been to many games in Laramie. It's great.
I've been to Casper.
I have to. I've done games in Casper.
Yeah, Casper. Again,
Shout out
as a young
Chicago
kid who didn't
Casper.
know any better, yeah, Casper was fine. As a 45-year-old grown adult, I probably wouldn't go back. That's just me.
Same. But all the places you go.
Hey,
But I
that's right.
digress.
That's right.
Point is, Mav Hockey needs a sweep this weekend.
They do.
So we're going to go with that.
We'll get into that here in a little bit.
When both games 8-0.
In fact, we'll get into that at the end of the hour. But and in 1 hour, we're going to be talking to Evan Bland about last night's Nebraska baseball victory. We'll get some football in with Evan as well. But coming back, huge moment in a game so early in the season, in my opinion, that could mean changing of fortunes for Nebraska baseball compared to last year. And I'll explain why Drew Christo's performance last night was so significant when we return here. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy, 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
The suspicious activity also included the Better Showing Sportsbook staff messages from Bohannon and explaining that the messages were Bohannon informing Better that Bama was scratching its starting pitcher before the game before Bohannon alerted LSU.
So the
guys, look, I have messages from the coach.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Becoming breezy and slightly cooler Friday, but still plenty mild as we wrap up the week. Expect sunshine early on, then becoming partly sunny mid-morning as northwest winds pick up, gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour, highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the NRG Media Time Saving Traffic Center, It's a quiet Friday morning. No accidents or delays reported in the Omaha Metro. However, you could expect delays on Cass between 84th and Dodge as there's one lane travel in both directions as repairs are being made from yesterday's water main break. And the northbound on-ramp to I-680 from Pacific will be closed until tomorrow evening due to construction. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Mega Millions jackpot is estimated at $525 million. Pick up a ticket for your chance to win big. Plus, you can now win up to $5 million for matching 5 white balls with the Mega Plier. Play Mega Millions today. Must be 19. Please play responsibly.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. We're in the middle of the best time of the year of basketball season, with meaningful games every night, with 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. The games have never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout, 162nd and Maple.
It's easy to see the common signs of transmission trouble.
If your engine revs before it falls into gear. If it seems to switch gears for no reason. So watch for the signs. Certified transmission, the job done right at the right price.
Your Creighton Blue Jays are home this Wednesday to take on Seton Hall at 8 p.m. for a bide night and a blue out. Limited tickets are still available for this primetime Wednesday night matchup and can be purchased in advance at gocreighton.com or in person at the CHI Health Center Omaha box office.
Febreze
Fabric Talk.
Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week. Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh, yeah. Spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La, 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 la.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
The world's largest sports book in Las Vegas is available right at your fingertips in Iowa. The Circa Sports Iowa app is sports betting the way it should be. Bet anywhere in Iowa and experience high betting limits, tight money line splits, and exceptional customer service. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com and start betting like a pro from anywhere in Iowa. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
Omaha Maverick Hockey hosts Colorado College tonight at Baxter Arena. You can listen on News Talk 1290 Coil. Puck drop is at 7 o'clock. It's UNO versus Colorado College tonight on your home for Maverick Hockey. News Talk 1290 Coil.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
You know, you guys the other day were talking about one of the songs that played coming back from
Yeah.
the break.
It had to do with rats.
Yeah, and let's see, people would think I'm
Neighborhood
picking
and something about rats. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, that reminds me of the fact that
I believe you and I were talking more about that, and Gary was just sort of he was riding shotgun on that one.
Well, he kept saying, "You guys don't
You
know
guys
don't know what hood rats
You guys
are."
know what that is, right?
And
Like,
I really
yeah, we
wanted to
know.
be like, dude, do you know where I went to school and grew up? Trust me, I know all about hood rats. All. They're not bad people.
And
They
I
can
grew
be
up in-
great friends.
And I grew up in the south side of Millard.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what's up.
South side of San Antonio is like, look, Gary, trust me, I've known since about 1994. Sixth grade, first dance, you're dancing to the Tootsie Roll, and you met several that night.
This song's a little more clean.
This is clean. But my point to that, they thought I picked that on purpose. So on the wall here, which I don't know if you can see.
The wall of randomness?
Yeah. So this, where I have the camera in the middle, that middle computer,
Yeah.
there is a thing that has bumps. So we have different bumps. We have old school, we have power,
Mhm.
we have regular bumps, and then we have stuff from the Gary Sharp show, the midday show that they had. And so just various. So if you press on it, it'll bring the next song. Now it shows you what song's coming up, but now if I pick a a particular song, I'll do it off this computer over here, which is where the camera is, where the hands,
where your hand is.
And that's something where it's like, okay, oh, you guys talked about something, so I played something, so that's the method behind how.
Are you trying to do what Rick Pitino didn't do? Are you trying to take accountability for that song?
No, I'm just trying to explain how it works. I don't care about the song, because my point is I knew it wasn't saying anything bad, because if it ends up on that wall, that means it's been edited and cleaned up. Wait, I think
what if we sneak one in there and it hasn't been cleaned? You're blindly following that one.
I get Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody's trying to sabotage,
Jimmy will play anything that is on the hot button screen.
They're trying to get me fired. I could see them doing that. Yeah.
Well, you know what? If I was ever trying to, just know that I have no idea how to input those songs on there, so it would never be me.
Yeah.
So,
I know it wouldn't be you.
It's not me.
But you like me, so there's a difference.
As far as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know. That list might be small.
Yeah, you never know. I feel you. Of course I like it, Jimmy.
I know, Nick.
It's a good feeling going into when you got a 4-game series and you get that first victory. It's a great feeling, especially when you're Nebraska right now, trying to get an idea of what this team is going to be. Grand Canyon, by the way, that Nebraska played last night out in Arizona.
The school, not the landmark.
Yeah, they didn't actually go out and just play like Grand Canyon's finest. This was a 4-0 team, and Grand Canyon actually had a couple of decent wins. They beat USC last weekend too. So they were coming into that series at 4-0. Nebraska was 1-2.
Yeah, they're not bad because it's warm there, so they get good talent, great facilities.
Yeah, they've recruited very well. They've played. They showed up pretty well in the WAC conference. So you're right. It's an attractive school to attend. Their facility, other than the scoreboard, they got to work on that. Their facility and that baseball diamond is gorgeous. I was watching this game on ESPN Plus last night too, and this is as people know, I used to do Nebraska baseball with Greg Sharp and Ben McLaughlin, and they're two very good friends as well. So I try to listen as much as I can. And usually in non-conference play, there's not a lot of opportunity to watch. And I would always like to sync up everything where I could just turn the volume down on the ESPN Plus broadcast and just listen to those guys. But it's either way ahead or they're way below because of all the buffering and, streaming services and what have you. So I didn't listen to the guys last night, but watching the game last night and listening to whoever was doing for ESPN Plus, I honestly thought it was a golf event because they were like, and here's the pitch. Oh yeah. Like it was almost like they were standing right behind the batters. So they didn't want to be loud because they're trying to be respectful to the players. Where they're like
2-2 for the Braves.
Okay. Yes, it was. I mean, it made Skip Carey sound like
be sure to stay tuned.
Like Hawk Harrelson. Family. It did. It made him sound like it was Hawk Harrelson. Like they were just like, and here's Caden Brumbaugh. Caden Brumbaugh playing second base for Nebraska. And there's the first pitch. It's just, it wasn't like
following our game tonight at Jack Murphy Stadium.
I don't know what's going on. I'd love to know.
Stars in action Jackson at 11:35.
I've seen the ballpark. I've seen where the press box is. So they're far away from any activity on the field. I didn't understand that. Maybe they're just they might have just been a bashful crew. I couldn't even tell you if they were really good or not because they were very, very, very subdued
this game is
in their delivery.
Yes,
but who wasn't subdued? And that was our man Drew Christo. He did exactly what you needed. We set the over/under 4 innings yesterday. If you could get 4 out of Drew Christo, you're going to be very happy with the start. How about 6? How about 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts? He did throw 86 pitches. The best number out of that entire stat line, though, is the number 1, and that is not the earned runs. That is free passes. Drew Christo walked 1 batter in 6 innings of work in 86 pitches. That is the type of effort. That's the type of performance, again, against a decent team that you need to get out of Drew Christo. His velocity was good. He was elevating his fastball. That's a weapon, but you could tell, and maybe this is the Rob Childers effect, or maybe it's just kind of coming together, because I know this was part of the process with Jeff Christie when he was there working with Drew Christo as well, and that was being able to command the off speed, being able to get on the bump and approach a game like a college pitcher and not someone who was able to get by with a 90-plus fastball in high school. Drew Christo's a big dude. He's a competitor. There's so much to like about what he can do. It was just being able to sort of refine all of those little things that make you a very good high school pitcher to an even better college pitcher, because you have the complementary pitches. You know when and where to hit those spots. And with your fastball, anybody can hit a 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball in college baseball. Where are you locating that too? So there was so much to like with just his location, with his off-speed. He was keeping hitters guessing. He was scattering outs too. It wasn't like he was getting that many swings and misses. But again, he was keeping the ball playable for his team. And Grand Canyon had a couple of early instances where they were able to get some good contact. Didn't rattle Drew Christo at all. All of a sudden, he didn't get erratic. He really kind of dialed in. So in a way, kind of overpowered a little bit there. Why that is such a huge development in just the fourth game of Nebraska's lengthy baseball schedule is because of the mid-game slates that they have. And that was the one thing, if you're looking at Nebraska, keeping them out of the NCAA tournament discussion, was pretty much those midweek moments, whether it was Summit League opponents, whether it was Creighton, whatever it might have been. Nebraska in the midweek struggles was a major problem. And this is the Big Ten itself. This will be the last year, I think we'll say this, but the Big Ten you cannot count on to give you multiple teams to come out of there into the NCAA tournament. I think Iowa is a very good baseball team. Brecht is a stud. They've got some dudes there. Indiana, they recruit very well. Maryland, I think, will still be in the mix, even though they lost a lot of studs from that team they had a year ago. But you cannot always depend that your conference slate is going to give you those opportunities. So, you get a good victory last night against Grand Canyon, but you also have an opportunity to step out of conference in midweeks and be able to bolster that resume as much as you can. You know, depending on how K-State's going to be. They got KU this year, too. You get Creighton 3 times. You will have the occasional Summit League team. They get one against Omaha, but you get some of those Summit League teams that aren't going to necessarily do anything for your resume other than really hurt you. So if you're losing those games, it's going to look really, really bad. Drew Christo, if he is going to be in the weekend rotation or he's going to be a guy that is relied upon in midweeks, whatever the role might be, last night was huge because let's say he does continue the success that you saw from last night, because there were moments in that game where he had weekend rotation stuff. If he finds his way, and we'll see what Caleb Clark goes on Sunday in game 4 of this. He had a tough one last week. Now, albeit it was against a solid baseball team in Oklahoma, but he gets moved to midweek. Either way, you're adding an arm that is a much needed arm to extend that rotation and really be able to correct something that was a major problem last year, and that was midweek starts. And so, to me, that's the biggest development right there with the successful outing that Drew Christo had. He's worked a lot with Rob Childers. By all indications, it seems like he's in a better spot. I think he had a few rocky moments right before the season started, but this is the Drew Christo that I think everybody is hoping that they will see going forward, and I'm confident. I think enough teaching and being around enough college baseball and being able to kind of live through some of those tougher moments. I mean, Jimmy, you've covered enough college athletics to know that a lot of those people that you're covering, they were studs in every sport and at least at every stop that they had.
Yeah, they were the dude in high school.
Mm-hmm.
People forget that. We all forget that as people.
So when they finally get that first bout of adversity, and especially in baseball where it seems like whatever you're putting across the plate is just getting hammered, or you can't find the strike zone, that can compound. It wears at your confidence. You start overthinking. You start trying to be too fine with your location. Then you really start either hanging things or just burying things in the dirt. And before you know it, it's this struggle between mental and physical execution when it comes to being able to have success on the mound. I feel like Drew Christo's gone through a lot of that in his time in Nebraska. But when you're 6'5", 235, and you've got a rifle for an arm, and you're able to take all of those bumps along the learning process and still be able to have the confidence, go out, deliver a good performance like last night. I know it was 6 innings. I know it was one game, But it was, I think, a very encouraging, more than just encouraging. I think it was a major development and a huge sign of good things to come for Drew Christo and what could come for this staff in this overall rotation. Because now you look at a lot of different arms. There's a lot of different people that can come in to the midweek scene, the midweek conversation, whether that is Drew or not. And you feel like you have a better plan in place. So at one point last year, it was kind of throwing things on the wall and hopefully something would stick. Then it was, okay, we're gonna whole staff this one, or are we gonna roll out an actual starter? You just never knew. And I didn't envy the position that Jeff Christie was in and Will Bolt was in, because you just didn't get that execution from those guys. You had a lot of options, but the question is, were they good options? I think what you saw last night, Drew Christo being one of those good options. And the more of those that you can have, given how important those midweek games are going to be if Nebraska's to get back to the NCAA tournament and be able to maybe even use some of those guys out of the bullpen in those Big Ten weekend series too, that was huge. That was great performance. And almost in a way, for people who know the struggles that Drew has had in trying to get that confidence back on how dominant of a pitcher he was in high school, it's a feel-good moment too. Local kid hopefully is able to use that performance and really take off from there. That's the hope. It was a great look. Again, they continue tonight. You're back to the regular rotation that you saw last week. I mentioned Caleb Clark. Watch him on Sunday. That's going to be interesting to see. But you got Sears, Walsh going, and then Caleb Clark to wrap up the series with Grand Canyon. All right, we were asked about the Colorado College Omaha series. I'll get into that. Coming up in the 8 o'clock hour, we're going to jump into some Husker and Creighton hoops. Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald also joins us at 8:30 as we continue here in Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy, 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie, piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software. Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who've switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
Febreze Fabric Talk. Hey, it's me, your couch. Today's my favorite day of the week, Febreze Fabric Spray Day. The occasional deep cleans are nice, but in between, you know I'm needing a refresh. Ooh, here she comes with the Febreze Fabric Spray. Oh yeah, spritz them armrests. Don't be shy. Nothing like a good spray down to get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my back. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe happy. Febreze. La 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 la.
The Nebraska Pool and Spa Expo on February 23rd through the 25th with 30-plus hot tubs and swim spas on display
from multiple manufacturers.
Up to 50% off retail pricing. Hot tubs from $44.99.
Same-day delivery.
0% financing. Act now. Only 3 days. Come get factory direct savings on a new hot tub or swim spa.
This February 23rd through the 25th
at the Keystone Event Center. 3 days only. The Nebraska Pool and Spa Expo.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Typical studies involve medications for high cholesterol, diabetes, infectious diseases, and others. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages, conducting innovative research that has a positive impact on lives. Click for current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com. More trials are launching in March. Compensation for study-related time and travel. Find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
And Doug.
With Liberty Mutual, you can customize and save hundreds on your car insurance. But what to buy with those savings? Yep, I bought a sound effects machine.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com. Savings may vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty. 1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Ryan says on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed, says that Nick Handley 1620 understands how hockey works. 3 twirlers was a curse. It took us half the season to get over it. If Josh Peterson comes to a game and we win, he's welcome back with open arms. We lose, never again. I remember Josh, I think, being at the game they won. And so Josh did make sure he chimed in. He said, last time I attended a UNO game, they won. And so now Josh is being invited to bang a drum with the Red Army.
The takeaway here is Josh Peterson needs to go to hockey this weekend. He is the secret ingredient.
We need Josh there this weekend.
He will give you 100 pitches, 9 innings. Oh, wait, wrong sport.
Connor will be there tonight for sure. That much I know. He's going to be a man of the people tonight. This series with Colorado College now, I know a lot of people remember the conversation Gary and I were having after that Denver series about where this program is and really the landscape of the NCHC. And one of the teams that I brought up when you're looking at where each program is going and you're about to welcome in Arizona State the following year, keep an eye on what's going on there in Colorado Springs. They got a new arena a couple years back. They went from the Olympic size sheet of ice to the traditional size, or the NHL size, I should say. It's a school that you can recruit to, and it's also pretty awesome when you have a big time goaltender in Caden Mbarico. This guy, for anybody who hasn't had a chance to see CC play in the last 2 years, and it's kind of ironic that when we're talking about a big time series this time of the year at Baxter Arena, that we are lumping Colorado College into it, because usually this was sort of the get right weekend of, okay, you have to sweep, because if you don't, it looks bad when it comes to the pairwise, or if anybody who's unfamiliar with the pairwise, is essentially the college hockey's version of the RPI, that CC is 11th in the pairwise. They're ranked number 10 in the rankings, 11th in the pairwise. Omaha is 19th in the ranking, and they are also 19th in the pairwise. What CC did last weekend, if you needed any reason to believe of what I was saying about CC a few weeks back, they took not one, but a full weekend sweep of North Dakota. Folks, this is a good North Dakota team, and that doesn't happen. Especially doesn't happen to teams like Colorado College and Miami. I shouldn't even compare those two, because those have traditionally been the bottom two of the conference, Colorado College and Miami. Colorado College is ascending big time. And now getting a ranking at number 10, bringing in a very good squad that is brimming with confidence after what they did against one of the best teams in the country in North Dakota, and also bringing in one of the conference's best goaltenders in Caden Mbarico. Noah Laba is also a really good player for Colorado College. So for a lot of people who have been accustomed to going to hockey games at Baxter Arena and have seen the black and gold make their way in, this is going to be a different looking team than what you're used to seeing, because typically, again, Colorado College was a way to get right. Now, if you're looking at it from the Omaha lens, it's a way to make a huge dent into the pairwise. Rankings are whatever. Omaha's not going to win the regular season NCHC. There's still an opportunity for them to host in the first round of the NCHC playoffs. But right now, with what they have left on their schedule, they've got this series, then they go on the road to play Miami, then North Dakota comes to Baxter Arena. Normally, with those 3 regular season series remaining, you would have to put all of your eggs into the basket of North Dakota and hope that you don't drop a game to either CC or Miami. Now, you look at a major opportunity with a team that is getting a lot of attention. The numbers are reflecting that as well, that even if you can get a win, if a series split against CC would do you some favors. It puts you a lot of pressure that you got to sweep on the road against Miami. And then when North Dakota comes to town, you try to do as much as you can there. Again, at the very least, get 1. But I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity weekend for Omaha based on how good CC has looked as of late. That's why it's a huge weekend. Not because, well, you just got to win and you got to stack those up. No, I mean, what if a win against Colorado College tonight would go a very long way in putting Omaha in a better position with the pairwise? If you're Omaha right now, you want to be in a position that you do not have to be in Minnesota in the conference semifinals and finals, the tournament. You basically don't want to be in a position to do something that you've never done before, and that is make the Frozen Face-Off, which is the final 4 teams of the conference tournament. Omaha has never done that. And to say, well, the only way you can be an NCAA tournament team is by winning the conference tournament, or at least by being in Minnesota for that, well, that's why this weekend is big. Because if you were able, dare I even say sweep Colorado College, that pairwise number is going to be a lot more favorable. And if you're wondering, again, I know some people are new to college hockey. A lot of you aren't, but some people are. NCAA tournament gets 16 teams in. In the pairwise, they take the top 16 teams, but you got automatic qualifiers as well. So you could be sitting at number 14, 15, or 16, and in all likelihood, you're probably not getting in. If you can find yourself like where Colorado College is right now, Colorado College is in a comfortable position. Sitting there at number 11 in the pairwise, that's a good place to be. Can Omaha put themselves in a position with a solid weekend this weekend? Because you're not going to get anything out of next weekend as if you sweep Miami. It's not going to build up your points. It's a lot like what we talk about with basketball too. That's the only thing that next weekend provides Omaha is bad loss opportunities. You got to win. But what this weekend provides is huge. This is basically like a huge Q1, quad 1 weekend for Omaha. And then they're able to sort of bookend these next 3 weekends with that. You've got a huge Q1 weekend, again, use basketball terms. And then when North Dakota comes to Baxter, that would also be a major Q1 opportunity. So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, but it's not impossible for Omaha to do in these next 6 games enough to put themselves in a respectable pairwise position to where if you could just win the first weekend of the NCHC tournament, that you could be in a very, very good spot and that you could find yourself getting an at-large without winning the conference tournament. Because to me, that's got to be the goal. And the good news is when you first saw the schedule, you might have thought, man, those last 3 weekends don't provide that much opportunity. Well, you know what? Thanks to Colorado College and how well they've played, now they do. You've got 2 out of the 3 weekends where you have major, major opportunities. Get a split. At the very least, if you can get a split.
Say win them both.
That'd be great. If you want them both.
Especially now that they have Josh in the fold. Secret weapon.
You got the 16-20 the zone personalities that are going to.
Josh is going to walk in.
We don't know if Josh is going though. I mean, we haven't.
We can push
that.
from that.
Yeah.
You have people that are willing to bring him in.
Oh,
in
sure.
fact, if you want to go even further, maybe get a hold of him later and pick him up.
He just
and
got
take
invited
him to the game.
He got invited to be an honorary Red Army member.
If you chauffeur him to Baxter and put him in the Red Army, it's Good Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And you might want to sweeten the deal. Maybe throw in some fairy nectar on the drive over while he's sitting in the back seat.
Guy does like a good craft beer.
That's how you get him.
The Kincaidor NIL beer, which I had a few of them last Saturday in the South Dakota State Omaha men's basketball game. Cowbell, pretty good. Or I'm sorry, no, that's the old one. Cowbell's the old one. This is called Bull Market.
Oh yes, I've heard of it.
It's very good.
I haven't had it. But
yeah, it's quite good.
Maybe I should have one.
It's a good
sitting
option.
With John tomorrow. Would that be frowned upon?
Although here's the problem: people who have had it more don't take maybe my full review of that, because I get really excited when I get to sit in a seated Baxter Arena and watch a sporting event and actually drink.
Yeah,
because usually I can't, because usually I'm PA announcing. So that was maybe me just excited to be drinking beer. Period.
To where a Mick Ultra tastes amazing.
Yeah. Maybe I won't go as far as saying a Steel Reserve. Steel Reserve would never taste good.
That's kind of like when I had a Bud Light at a KU football game, and I immediately went onto my Untapped app and gave it 5 stars. I said I gave it 5 stars because I'm at a football game.
There's just something about a beer.
It was sunny and 55 degrees that day.
Damn right. God, it's
I
amazing.
gave it a 5 because I couldn't give it a 6.
And then you bought like a 6-pack. You're like, man, maybe I've been turning my back on Bud Light too much, and you come home and you get that 6-pack. Yeah, this tastes
followed by
very
wow.
plain.
I must be drunk if I'm drinking this and it feels good.
That was it's a good beer. So all kinds of things too.
But
to
the
welcome
Bull Market
all
beer,
kinds
that's
of
what you're
fans.
saying.
Bull Market from Kincaidor. It's a good NIL beer.
I like Kincaidor.
It's good to see that now all 3 of these schools have their NIL beers, and they're all pretty good. Like I love the Cornhead Lager is good. The Let It Fly is good.
Oh yeah.
All light lagers.
Nectar, shout out to
The
our
Bull
friends
Market's the Bull Market's actually not as light though. The Bull Market's a little bit more crafty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you can give Josh that.
Yeah.
So I threw in the fairy nectar. Then shout out to our friends at Cross Strain.
Always
friends of our show.
Always some of the best.
They listen.
Absolutely. All right, 8:00 hour we go. We are going to get into the hoops weekend. Nebraska, big one against Minnesota. Creighton, what will you see with St. John's? And then also Omaha's got a big one too. Their overall seeding in their tournament is it could be from as low as a 7 to possibly a 3. And we'll take a look at all of that. Evan Blight of the Omaha World Herald also joining us at 8:30 as we continue on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the NRG Media Time Saving Traffic Center, there's a crash reported on westbound I-80 causing delays between 42nd and 60th. Start expecting slow traffic on the eastbound Dodge from 168 to 144th and from I-680 to 72nd. You could also expect delays on Cass between Dodge and 84th as there's one-lane travel in both directions due to repairs being made from yesterday's water main break. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Hey guys, it's Nick for Hims. Have you noticed your energy isn't quite what it was? Maybe you're losing your hair. Maybe you're having issues performing in bed. And maybe you think these things are uncommon. Well, they're not. That's the good news. 52% of men over 40 experience some form of ED, and male pattern hair loss affects about 50% of men by age 50. The good news, through Hims, you can upgrade your daily routines with prescription treatments that can make a big difference and help you regain your confidence and help you feel like yourself again. So if you want to regrow your hair, have better sex, or tackle anxiety and depression, you don't have to go to the doctor, the pharmacy, or spend all day talking about it. Just go to hims.com and do something about it. Hims treatments fit seamlessly into your everyday routine. So once you get treatment, taking care of your health problems is surprisingly simple. Hims has helped millions of guys just like you get help for their health problems. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/start. That's hims.com/start for your free online visit. HIMS.com/START.
Your Creighton Blue Jays are home this Wednesday to take on Seton Hall at 8 p.m. for a bide night and a blue out. Limited tickets are still available for this primetime Wednesday night matchup and can be purchased in advance at gocreighton.com or in person at the CHI Health Center Omaha box office.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do overthink everything. Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I should just get fake plants.
It's the President's Day sale at Mattress Firm. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. See a lower price? We'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
News Talk 1290 Coil is the home of Omaha Maverick women's basketball all season long. Don't miss any of the Maverick action as they try to make their mark on the Summit League this season. Omaha Mavericks women's basketball is on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Yesterday was not a good day for Gary Sharp when it comes to trying to avoid the conversation of metrics and numbers of college basketball teams, but including the beloved Nebraska basketball squad.
You said metrics and numbers before you said basketball, and I immediately thought I tried to avoid that since sixth grade, but
it was. Yeah, I have to. That's why we do what we do. I can't speak on your behalf, but I know that's.
Oh, no. That's definitely why I do. Yeah, I once got a 7 on a math test in college, so I put that on the fridge. It's like you can't even try to be that terrible.
Well, they gave you credit for getting your name right.
It's like best of the best, or why'd you even count them for?
How many people have seen Best of the Best?
People that listen to this station, I like to think have seen.
So.
There's somebody in their car right now that just immediately goes, no, Tommy, no, Coachy's gonna kill him.
Yeah. Tommy.
No, Tommy. Come on, there's got to be some people listening to that.
Is that Eric Roberts' best movie?
It might be. Best of Best 2 is pretty good.
It probably is. A lot of the talk around town, as they say, yesterday after Nebraska's first road victory. You would have thought the significance of going to Bloomington, Indiana, would have had the same type of impact as No Sit Sunday had on Nebraska's tournament hopes. And in some ways, maybe it does. Maybe we'll look back on that night and say that was the one that got them in. It's very possible. Oh, and by the way, a little side note. So the big Indiana-Iowa women's matchup last night, which Indiana smoked.
It was sold out there, too.
Caitlin Clark only scored 4 points in the second half.
Overrated.
I know.
Yeah.
Just trying to chase down Pistol Pete. You ain't going to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But as Iowa had sent out some pre-game tweets and images of the team getting ready to warm up. They still had the score from the night before up on the scoreboard of the Nebraska victory over Indiana. So that was kind of cool. Take that, Iowa. Not that Iowa women's really care about the Nebraska men's basketball side of it, but I thought it was kind of neat. Anyway, the talk yesterday, I think I mentioned at the end of the show of what the numbers were because Gary's made it a point, and I'm going to respect it. He made it a point that he will not look at that, but if he ever wants to know, I will have that information readily available. Well, I think it was maybe the fact that Nebraska had made a decent jump, more so than we thought they would with a road victory over Indiana. I think that's why it was kind of getting a little bit more run. So their net ranking went up from 47 to 43. Their Ken Palm ranking went up from 41 to 38. Their KPI went up from 38-31. Strength of record is now 29. The BPI went from 51 to 41. And the Torvik rating went from 39 to 34. So, you like that? Again, all of these were pretty decent-sized jumps from their previous numbers. If you get into this, okay, this is nerding out with the calculator type moment, okay? So bear with me.
Get your TI-89 out and start tapping away.
Yep. Just
look, it spells boobs.
I'm going to get to talk to me. Bracketology in the bracket matrix, Nebraska is in 104 of 106 brackets. So pretty much unanimously, as much as a team that is projected to be a 10 seed can be, is pretty much unanimously that they're in everyone's bracket. Lenardi, as of last check, has him as a 10 seed. Jerry Palm has him as a 10 seed. Andy Katz, man, he can't help himself. He loves Nebraska. He loves Fred. I don't know if he loves Nebraska and Fred, or I don't know. Maybe it's more of a Fred thing than it is a Nebraska thing, or maybe it's vice versa.
Maybe it's a combo of both. Really nice people, and Fred is great.
It's where two amazing things in Andy Katz's world came together as one, and now is a magical conjunction. I don't know. But Andy Katz has him as a 9 seed. And then Mike DeCourcy
I'd rather
of
be a
Fox.
10 than a 9.
I would too.
You don't want to play 1. And I know that just from when our women's team, I know before people roll their eyes, but we were 8 or 9. We were in that game, and it was great. We won the game, but then we had to go against number 1 Stanford. It didn't go well.
Yeah,
I know it's women's to men's, but it's the same principles here. If you're absolutely a 10, you'd rather play a 2, or on the off chance that you get a Coppin State beating South Carolina, like in 1997, led by the great Fang Mitchell, and Coppin State didn't have a band, so they had to borrow Morgan State's band, who did a fantastic job, and they played this at the old arena in Pittsburgh. Anyway, Coppin State won. God. They faced Texas in the second round. Texas beat them before advancing to the Sweet 16 and losing to Denny Crum's Louisville. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Wow. Bravo, my friend. Mike DeCourcy.
Who says I killed all my brain cells in college? I still have some.
Or they're just redeveloping it. All of a sudden you thought you lost one, and then one just comes right back. That can happen too. Mike DeCourcy has him as a
Louisville
10.
ended up losing to North Carolina in that Elite 8. North Carolina went to the Final Four before losing in the Final Four, and eventually Arizona beat Kentucky.
That year
to turn it, bring it back all around, Minnesota was in the Final Four that year, led by Bobby Jackson and Coach Clem Haskins.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Final Four was at the RCA Dome in Indianapolis.
Well, okay. The more you know, right?
Here's Nick with the weather.
By the way, if you're wondering where the bracketologists have him at, only 1 out of the 4 I mentioned has him in Omaha. DeCourcy's got him in Omaha as a 10, taking on 7th seed Florida. Andy Katz has them in Memphis, taking on 8th seed Colorado State. And then both Jerry Palm and Joe Lenardi have them in Charlotte. They differ on the opponent. Joe Lenardi has them playing a 7th seed Utah State, while Jerry Palm has them playing a 7th seed Washington State. I do want to give love to the daily
argument by Scary Gary, by the way, and I get this. This is why I didn't want to say that. He goes, this team has never won a tourney game, and we're already thinking about a round 2 game. If a 9 is the better matchup, give me a 9 over a 10. Fair. If you just want to get by the one win, so that's a good argument.
Nope, I'm going all in.
But
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. I get where Gary's coming from, and I get where Gary's coming from. They just want to win a tournament game.
Yeah.
At the end of that's all they want.
And that's why I laugh when people are like,
so
if they play in the play-in game, then it doesn't count. Hell
yes,
yeah, it counts.
Does.
Because your name was selected.
And that music is playing when you're going to breaks.
You're going to Dayton and the first 4 in. Sorry.
By the way, because I don't want to forget him, going back to our other discussion earlier, Husker Country says, keep a running tab on your phone of things she mentioned that she likes throughout the year. Then you always have a list to go off when it's time to buy a gift.
Oh, yeah, this goes back to...
that is a pro move, by the way.
Started out with choosing a ring, either having your wife...
We are not mind
Well,
readers.
I guess it'd be your girlfriend at the time. Your future wife be able to go ring shopping with you, or do you just say, you know what? I think I know what she likes. I think she's going to like this. And you go, what?
That's never going to go well for you.
It's
I mean, there are a couple of things that might go well for you, but that's not one of them.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Bracket Wag has Nebraska as a 10. Now they're the ones that this is the Shelby Mass bracket. This is the one that changes every day. So he actually does a daily bracket. We're going to start getting into that. I think maybe next week, where like Lenardi and Palm, DeCourcy, they put out like daily updates. But yeah, still has Nebraska as a 10 as the number 2 10 seed. So pretty comfortably in. But actually changed, I believe, after the win against Indiana yesterday morning when I looked at the Shelby Mass bracket, that Shelby Mass had Nebraska in Omaha. I'm looking right now, and I think that changed. So right now, Shelby Mass has the Omaha bracket as Iowa State taking on Louisiana Tech, and then Utah State taking on Gonzaga. The other side for Omaha would be...
Ooh, they got KU playing toothpaste.
Colgate?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Nebraska. Okay, he still does have Nebraska in Omaha. Nebraska taking on South Carolina, and then Colgate taking on Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Frank Martin.
So there's two that have them in Omaha. Either way, the numbers were brought up a lot with what Nebraska was able to do.
We got to get tickets to that. That's a house divided if that happens.
If Nebraska plays Kansas?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be really cool.
It would be.
That'd be the one time that Kansas will not take over that building. The one time. And this would be what, the fourth? If you count the super regional, if you count the regional, which Kansas was a part of, they had that epic game against Duke to go to the Final Four. Let's see, 08, 12. Yeah, this will be the fourth time, right? This will be the fourth time that Omaha has hosted either the NCAA first and second or a regional.
Yeah.
So I think this is the
It's always
fourth.
been a great host, though. So
yeah, because 08 was the first year.
Yep.
12 was the second year. Then there was
and the regional was 18.
Regional was 18. There
But I
you go.
swear there was another one.
I thought maybe there was too. Well, remember they were supposed to host during COVID.
Oh, yes.
So
people forget.
they didn't. So now it comes back around.
And then in the alternate timeline, what a field that was.
Yes. Oh, it was great.
What a time.
I do want to get to what Nebraska has coming up. So I mentioned, and I've been kind of singing the praises of Minnesota and Ben Johnson, the job he has done. I know we were talking about Fred has got to be in the conversation for Big Ten Coach of the Year. Ben Johnson as well. And we kind of touched on this yesterday. Two guys, for if any reason more than anything, these are guys that we didn't know if they would survive this year as the head coach of their respective institutions. And not only are they going to survive, but could be in the running for a raise or an extension. But Minnesota, if you're wondering about their number, they are inside the top 75. With that win yesterday, they went from 73rd to 72 in the net ranking. As I mentioned, though, Minnesota, when it comes to quad one opportunities, they are right now 1 of 5 in quad ones. They do have one bad loss. They had a quad 3 loss, but no quad 4s as well. So, again, Minnesota has got to be zeroing in on this thing. If you look at Nebraska's resume right now, and again, we're nerding out a little bit. I told you we would for a second. Nebraska is actually 12-0 in quad 3 and quad 4 opportunities. And the number that's actually maybe even more impressive than getting 3 quad 1 wins, they're 4-1 in quad 2. So, and now you add a road win to that resume in conference play. You got 2 road wins total. They're 2-7 on the road. It does set up pretty nice. It's a very respectable resume that I think you'd have a lot of issues of Nebraska not making it in if everything kind of holds true from here on out. But this is why I keep bringing up Minnesota. And these are the games, whether it's at home or on the road, that are always tricky to kind of figure because you've got a Minnesota team that is desperate, but a Minnesota team, if you watched last night, looked, this is where I'll remove myself from the computer screen on the numbers and what they're telling me and go off of what I truly saw in Minnesota last night against Ohio State. And to me, that is a team that looks like they could be a tournament team. That looks like they played like a tournament team last night. Mind you, they played Ohio State, but they looked like a tournament team last night.
Shout out to Bracket Swag, Shelby Mass. They've just followed us back on the Twitter.
Boom. Yeah, I noticed that when I started following Shelby Mass early in the year. Got like an immediate follow back.
Yeah.
Too.
So good morning, Shelby Mass. Good job.
Thanks for the content. He's on top of it. He's on top of it.
It definitely is a labor of love. I think that every week when Tim's here, it takes love to do all that.
It does.
It's a lot of puzzle. Yeah.
Well, there is. I feel like trying to have the perfect brag is like whack-a-mole, man. It's just.
I still don't think that there's no way that Kansas and Nebraska play here. I don't think Nebraska.
I think yes. It's obviously more likely that Kansas is here. In fact,
well, that's not likely. It's happening.
Well, I know, and we still got to figure out a bet in case.
And Iowa State will end up. You can figure out a bet all you want. It's not going to not happen.
The Iowa State Kansas part of it will be pretty cool because of that Big 12 rivalry.
I just think Nebraska will be somewhere else. Seeding will be probably that,
yeah.
And that doesn't matter. Like Scary Gary said, at the end of the day, for them, They don't care about seeds. They just want to be in and
Right.
give them the good matchup so they can get a win. And I understand that. So I'm not gonna. Oh no, what I said about being a 10. I'm saying if you have your pick, but I like I said, I understand. They just want to win.
For Nebraska on Sunday, though, this is why, and I know Zach brought up if K-State were to beat BYU, that should pop them into inside the top 75.
And they got to get going because they're on the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Minnesota, they're in the top 75 right now. Minnesota's been playing their way into a level of respectability to where all of a sudden a win against Minnesota at home can actually look a lot better on Nebraska's resume than what it did even 2 weeks ago. Because I think in their last 7 games, they're now 5-2. But before they went on that little run in the last 7 games, they dropped 4 in a row.
So they're pretty much playing themselves into an NIT bid for sure.
Yep.
Which I'm not insulting. I'm saying that's good for them because they looked bad before.
And then Iowa, you also have now, obviously they don't play Nebraska anymore, but Iowa's also playing themselves into the conversation. So it's interesting that
they're finishing strong.
The Big Ten, at one point you looked at, okay, could it be as low as just 5 teams? Now you're starting to see some teams play themselves into the conversation. That's why I just cannot stress enough. I know it's Nebraska at home. I know what they've done at home and how good they've looked.
But Nick says they're going to lose by 50.
They will lose by 14. If you have been paying attention the last week, you are in on the bid on that one. But this is going to be a major challenge for them.
Nick is personally going to help Nebraska ball get in the tournament.
I'm doing whatever I can.
Nick and Keisei Tominaga and Alec.
One of the guys has a better follow away. I'll let you decide which one that is.
Is that Nick Handley? Regular Hakeem Olajuwon with the
Appreciate
Dream
it.
Shake.
Appreciate that.
Post you up.
By the way, Creighton, if you are curious about the numbers, because this isn't all about the Nebraska numbers. The reason bringing up Creighton's numbers is so boring is because
they're good.
They are good. And
out on a limb, they're going to make the tournament.
Yeah. Their numbers are solid. They were a 9. They're still a 9 in the net. As far as where most bracketologists have them, they have them right around a pretty solid 4 right now. And that's a good spot to be in. It's Creighton. And that's why this conversation, I always feel like, oh yeah, and then there's Creighton. And it's kind of the whole discussion about Creighton, other than Wednesday. I mean, they got a lot of our conversation for 4 hours, and they should have, because what they did against UConn and what was just a total banged out atmosphere. And more than anything for me was being able to see that level that they can get to, like the fact that they can be truly a Final Four caliber team if they can duplicate that against a team like UConn that has so much going for them. What we're curious with Creighton from here on out is, can they validate that? Can they double down on what they did? Can they go to St. John's?
Finish on a heater.
Absolutely. And look good in doing so.
Come back, take care of Seton Hall. Then you get those last 2, Marquette. That'll be a juiced atmosphere. I think that'll rival the UConn atmosphere for Saturday afternoon. And I say that because looking at the weather next Saturday, 70s. You telling me Omaha won't be jumping for a 1:30 game against Shaka and his long sleeve shirt under his polo?
Oh, yeah.
And then you have Villanova a week later, and Kyle Neptune has them playing well. So, finish on a heater.
That's what I want to see out of Creighton. But as far as their numbers, it's not all of a sudden they're going to drop into like a 5 or a 6 right now. But I think that their ceiling is probably capped right now.
They could sneak into that 3 line.
I think 3 is probably the ceiling. Yeah.
People make a big deal about seeding. I've always been about matchups. I don't care about seeding. Yeah. It all comes back to now, mind you, where I came from, it was always an argument about, will they be a 1 seed? And I always just think, who cares? That only matters to what uniform you wear in the regional.
Well, the beauty of it is,
it's all about matchups.
You're right. It's about matchups.
Because they're saying, no, we don't care what seed you are. We're going to play who we play. We're going to beat them all.
The beauty of it is, whether you're a 4 or a 3, hey, 4 seeds have won a national championship. 3 seeds have won a national championship.
In
2 seeds have won a national
championship.
And you know what?
4.
2s have been upset in the first round. 3s have been upset in the first round. 4s have been upset in the first round too. So either way,
morning, Purdue.
Absolutely, Purdue and in Virginia,
who could play each other.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be funny?
That would be good.
Oh, that would be nap-inducing. 38-33.
God, I get it. Virginia, there's a formula there.
And I like Tony Bennett.
I do too.
I like Painter as well. Like people
tried.
think I hate Purdue. I don't. They're a nice Big Ten team. I don't trust them in the tournament, but if they have a little run, I'll be happy for them.
Man,
they're not dislikable.
I tried watching that game Monday night when they played Vatek.
You're better than I am.
That's tough. Oh, I at halftime I went on to other things because they scored 16 points in one half of basketball. I get it. They're not known for their offense, but at some point you need that. I mean, that was their undoing when they lost to UMBC. Like, okay, you got to have some offense every now and then. Teams go on a heater, regardless of how tough defense you're playing.
We've seen wheelchair basketball with more offense.
It was bad, man. They're tough. They are a tough watch, but
Tony Bennett, good dude.
It's a major opportunity for Nebraska, just like it's a major opportunity for Minnesota on Sunday. And I'm not saying that worries me.
That's going to be.
But for people who maybe looked at Minnesota as a layup, I hope you watched last night and watch what they've been doing the last 7 games.
Good on them. They're playing better.
They are.
That's
Ben Johnson he's cooling down that seat very much so
Good
here in
for
the
him.
month of February.
Yeah, too bad Jack Collinsworth isn't calling this game on Peacock. Then I'd be all Nebraska.
Who's got
like
the game
by
on
30.
Sunday, by the way?
I'm not sure. It's not
see.
Peacock though. I haven't.
No.
They have no more Peacock games this year unless they have something in the conference tournament.
I believe you are wrong. Oh, they do. And the Peacock's got the I think the Wednesday
But they
games.
won't be playing that day.
Nebraska Nebraska's on BTN.
Okay.
So, yep.
I'm guessing it's probably Kevin. I mean, it's
most likely
safe. They play well when he's there.
They do. He's been a part of some big games.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, when we come back, we're going to talk. Speaking of Nebraska, mentioned how significant Drew Christo's performance was for the baseball team, but I'll also get into some football as well. As mat drills are going on, you can probably hear it. All the hoot and hollering at 6 a.m., but also as we get closer to spring as well. We'll get into some of those storylines with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald as he joins us right after this.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Previously on The Crossover.
We have the Valentino's ice cream.
Oh, he's going to defend it. This is wild. This is wild. This is so gross.
It's not unlike, now I wouldn't eat this regularly, but it's a little like if you threw it in the freezer.
But blended it first.
Yeah, probably a little blended, but...
Mornings with Sharp and Handley, the Connor Happer Show, unsportsmanlike conduct, 6A to 6P, 1620, The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Becoming breezy and slightly cooler Friday, but still plenty mild as we wrap up the week. Expect sunshine early on, then becoming partly sunny mid-morning as northwest winds pick up, gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour, highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the NRG Media Time Saving Traffic Center. There's a crash reported on 180th and Dodge. Also, there's a car stall block in the right lane on northbound 168th, just past Pacific. Start expecting slow traffic on the eastbound Dodge from 168 to 144th and from I-680 to 72nd. You could also expect delays on Cass between Dodge and 84th as there's one lane travel in both directions due to repairs being made from yesterday's water main break. Be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
You've probably heard about Omaha Transmission saving people money. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Creighton Sports Update.
It's a busy Blue Jay athletic weekend. Tomorrow, Creighton women's basketball hosts their pink-out game versus Villanova at 11 a.m., followed by men's tennis versus Omaha at 7 p.m. For more information, to purchase tickets, or to follow along on all things Creighton, visit gocreighton.com. And that's your Creighton Sports Update.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
The Nebraska Pool and Fun Expo on February 23rd through the 25th with 30-plus hot tubs and swim spas on display from multiple manufacturers. Up to 50% off retail pricing. Hot tubs from $44.99. Same-day delivery. 0% financing. Act now. Only 3 days. Come get factory direct savings on a new hot tub or swim spa. This February 23rd through the 25th at the Keystone Event Center. 3 days only. The Nebraska Pool and Fun Expo.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 in vouchers for only $25 to Lula Bee's Breakfast, Brunch, and Bar. Lula Bee's has everything from French toast and omelets to shrimp tacos and burgers. There's even a full bar with uniquely inspired cocktails. Lula Bee's has a festively decorated party room for celebrations or just brunch with all of your friends. Lula Bee's, 9th and Dodge, or at lulabeesomaha.com.
Zone Deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
College basketball's biggest tournament is coming, and it's time to start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa. It's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, tight money line splits, exceptional customer service, and more. Fund and bet like a pro anywhere, anytime. It's never been easier. Download your new bookie before all of the March action at circasports.com. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-238-7633.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do overthink everything.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I should just get fake plants.
It's the President's Day sale at Mattress Firm. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700 plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. See a lower price? We'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Coming up at 9 o'clock, we are going to talk with Matt Brown a little bit more about that EA Sports college football game. It'll be released. Was it May? Is May the release date?
It's July.
Or July. That's right. It's July. But there's like more information coming in May. We found out what's
more
teasers,
I'm
the
win
official
so many
trailer.
Championships. It's ridiculous.
I got to buy a new gaming console if I'm going to get into this.
I won't throw more than 5 passes a game.
The word on the street is it'll cost you $70 to buy.
I'll buy 2 of them
to buy that. Well, if you're a player, you get one for free, and $600.
Define player.
Sorry, student athlete.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah,
I'm neither.
Your name, image, likeness is part of that. Yes. As we go to the 42-degree hotline and say hello to our friend Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Evan, good morning. How are you?
Morning. Doing well, guys. The EA Sports Talk is bringing me back to my own college days, where the option pass or 2 slants over the middle.
Oh, yeah.
I could find a way to the end zone with those 2 plays most of the time.
Option left, option right.
Yeah,
and then just suck them in. And
that was
deep.
the red zone go-to. The aforementioned slant. I think I'm with you there. If I needed a surefire touchdown inside the red zone, then I was going with the slants, especially if I had a lengthy wide receiver. I wonder if the same type of strategy goes into this game coming up.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, in hindsight, my offense back then was like Nebraska from 2 years ago. Like, you try to put the fastest guy at quarterback.
Yeah.
If you can draw in the middle linebacker and throw a pass over the middle, like, then you have some success. And if not, it can get a little bit dicey. But it's going to be fun to have that back, man. It's been, a decade since that's been around? That's crazy.
Hey, I know life has happened for you. I got rid of my gaming console when I moved back to Omaha, and so I don't have one. Do you game at all? Is this something that would, if you do, you'll be involved, or is it like, nah, sorry, don't have time for it?
I mean, I kind of gave up gaming when I became a dad, a number of years ago. But this is going to test that, I think. Like,
I'm with you.
because there's not a huge time commitment, right? Like you can play a game, it's not like you have to beat a game or like there's a whole hours and hours of commitment. You can play a half-hour game and go from there. So I'll be curious how that goes. But then honestly, back in the day, I enjoyed the off-season stuff too, recruiting and roster building and like how different that's going to be with all the stuff going on now. I guess we'll find out.
They're going to get some sweet NIL deals, transfer portal. It's kind of crazy. You're right. Like I remember a time that when I would play either that or like the new release of Madden, I would all of a sudden realize that 5-6 hours just flew by. And it was the biggest time vampire. I was enjoying that I was doing it, but all of a sudden I realized I either got to get to bed or, oh man, I'm running late to work. So I know I'm not as committed, but I'm with you. I'm thinking about, getting a PlayStation and possibly, maybe getting a refurbished one, maybe trying to get a deal on one because I don't know if I'm going to play other games other than this, but it definitely has me intrigued.
Yeah, you invite your friends over, and for me, like the muscle memory is I need a pizza and like a Mountain Dew to make this thing really complete. So I don't know like how much regression is going to occur here, and I don't think it's just me, but that's it's interesting, like sociological experiment.
Does it all come back? Is it like riding a bike? I guess maybe we'll wait and see in July. Hey, great development last night, I thought, and I know you were watching the game too. Drew Christo, we said on the show yesterday, boy, if you get 4 innings out of him, that would be a major step in the right direction. Not only do you get 4, you get 6 out of him. There were a lot of good things about the start, but Evan, I look at the one number more than anything, and that is the number 1, and that is the amount of walks that you got from Drew Christo. And then the other part about his start that I like there was some pretty good ball bat contact early, but it seemed like he kind of settled down. Like in previous outings, like that would maybe rattle him a little bit. There was just, I don't know. I'm curious what you thought. I just thought there was a lot to like about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Nebraska goes on to have the kind of season that it wants to have, I think last night's game is one that you can point to and say that the team really showed something. And Christo was obviously a big part of that. And like, even just within the series, like I thought last night's game was going to be the toughest one for Nebraska because you got a guy in Christo who has all the potential in the world, but he hadn't really shown it. And he's going up against a guy in Daniel Avatia from Grand Canyon, who is a preseason All-American. His numbers have been legit for 2 years. He's their ace, and they're playing at home. And so I thought that one would be the toughest get for Nebraska. And sure enough, I mean, Christo goes out and shoves, and his pitches are all working. His fastball's lively, his slider is on point, his changeup he's mixing in, and keeping a really balanced Grand Canyon team off balance. So that was huge. And then I thought what the offense did too. I mean, with Tyler Stone hitting a home run as a Phoenix native back home, that was a cool little storyline, but it wasn't 1 or 2 guys. It was situational hitting. It was Dylan Carey getting a hit. It was Josh Karen. It was, a sac fly from Garrett Anglin for a little insurance. And then you had some error-free defense on top of that, and they turn a couple key double plays in the later innings. So, just a balanced effort from Nebraska. That's what you want. That's a game, especially in a true road game, that's going to help you down the road in terms of RPI and the resume and everything that goes into that. And now it sets up, essentially a 3-game series where even if you win 1 of 3 as Nebraska and you split a series like that against GCU, that's a successful weekend, and you have a chance for a lot more than that on top of that. So really encouraging first night for Nebraska. You imagine Christo's definitely earned a chance to be a starter again next week in another 4-game set. And then he, if he keeps putting up outings like this, it's going to make for, I think, an interesting decision for what their rotation looks like when they go back to those 3-game sets.
And I'm with you as far as last night's significance, just as we try to get a better feel for this team, because I don't know where you were after the last weekend, Evan. Even in a 1-2 showing, it just felt like there were more positives than there were negatives. But until you see them sort of take that entire weekend's work and then apply it into the following weekend against another tough opponent, it's just hard to get a read. I felt like last night maybe validated my initial feeling of this team after what they did, even, not winning that series last weekend against those 3 really good teams, but showing a lot of good things. I felt like what they did last night kind of validated that there were more good things than bad things in that weekend in Texas.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they were a clutch hit away from going 2-1 last weekend, and maybe 2 clutch hits from going 3-0. Like, that's how thin that margin was for them. And kind of what I looked at this week was, you look under the hood a little bit. They didn't get a hit with runners in scoring position. They hit under 200. So you figure that's going to normalize a little bit. I think they were 2 for 10 last night in that category. And then you look at the pitching too, and just the strikeouts to walks are too good for that to hold you down too much. I keep going back to a year ago. It was 1-1 after a 3-game series, and that's not good. And through 3 games last weekend, it was 28-11, and then you saw it again last night, where I think Christo had the 1 walk, like you mentioned. I think that was the only walk Nebraska pitching allowed in 9 innings, and like that's going to play. And that's over the course of time. That's what you're looking for. So we saw that again last night. I think the other thing too is like it's easy to forget like that more than half of this roster turned over, and as much as you can kind of take some things away from summer ball and what guys did in the fall, you don't always know until the lights come on, who the real gamers are. So they had a ton of guys debut last week. You'll probably see a couple more debut this weekend. So you're still figuring out roles and bullpen spots and who you can trust in certain situations. And, leave it to a 4-game series to kind of lay everything out there, because you don't have the luxury of just using your top 2 or 3 relievers. Like, you're going to probably have to go 6, 7, 8 deep this weekend against a good team. And you're going to figure out a little bit more who you can trust, which freshmen are ready, which transfers can elevate their game and all that. So, it's typical this time of year for Nebraska baseball. Those first few weeks you're on the road, you're kind of figuring out what you have. But it does feel like maybe they have more depth and they're a little bit further along to start than they have been in recent seasons.
Talking to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald here on 1620 The Zone. Evan, switching over to football, this was a conversation we got into earlier in the week about how Matt Rule has talked about his handling of Dylan Raiola. And it's so unique because you've got a true freshman that, you won. It was a major win in recruiting. And now you've got this guy in a quarterback room that it does have a returning starter amongst the group, but a returning starter that I think all of us would agree still has a lot to learn when it comes to being a complete quarterback, that Dylan Raiola would come in and represent more of what this offense would like to be and the type of guy that they would want to quarterback. So I know when he says it's not, the end all be all, that he is the day one starter, that it just needs to be a day-to-day process, I think is all fine and good. If he's not the day one starter, with the obvious exception of being, an injury, how do you think that goes over, and what would we ultimately take away if he's not the day one starter?
Well, you hope, if that's the case, that a guy like Daniel Kalen or Heinrich Harburg take major strides in the offseason, and maybe they play so well that you can't do anything about it. It seems like a, probably not the odds-on scenario for this season. You consider all the NIL resources that are going into Dylan Raiola, and just the offseason stuff too. You look at the transfer portal recruiting that they did, and Raiola was the second guy to greet most of these players after Matt Rule. And that sends a pretty strong message. And certainly as you said, the process has to play out. And sort of the irony of this stretch that we're in right now is it's one of the quietest times for Nebraska football externally in terms of what there is to talk about with updates, but it's a huge time when you're looking at just the mat drills and some of the team building things that they're doing. Like, this is when you find out who wants to be at the front of the line, who doesn't accept average effort from their teammates, who has their own high standards for themselves and see that executed in a competitive situation. So this is that time when a guy like Dylan Raiola really does prove that to guys, and when we start talking about single digit jersey numbers in the fall, like the early returns on that are happening right now. So, if it's not him, I would be surprised, not just from the talent perspective, but also from just the intangible stuff. You talk about guys who have been ready as true freshmen over the years. Typically when that happens, it's not just about the talent, it's about the mental stuff. And I think the fact that he's grown up in an environment where his dad was a professional athlete, where he has rubbed elbows with former professional NFL quarterbacks, he just has that mentality, I think, to where a moment like stepping in and being the starter at Nebraska won't feel as big to him, or won't have the same magnitude as it would, a first-generation football player who's playing in front of a crowd like that for the first time. So if it happens, it'd be a major development, major storyline. But at this point, I don't know that there's anything that would suggest that that'll be the case.
There's, and I'm with you. I think that we know that it's all sort of like a formality, but I know another part of how Matt Rule talks about Dylan Raiola when he's doing interviews, you're trying to manage expectations to the outside world. And I get that. And I think every freshman, there should be at least an attempt to do so. It's just different though, right? I mean, they as a coaching staff can do that. His teammates can do that. They can understand that he's a freshman. I just feel like for the fans and even to some extent for the media that cover him, it's just going to be a different level of expectations. And for a lot of the reasons you talk about, he's just kind of wired and built different, right?
Yeah. I mean, you hear him talk, he's really mature. He's got a good perspective. I think that's unusual for someone of that age. But I think the situation, you have to talk about the situation that he's coming into as well. Like, it's not just 5-star quarterback and you assume he's going to start. You have to, I think, look at the context too and say, the quarterback position was a huge area of concern for Nebraska when that position between fumbles and interceptions accounts for 25 giveaways last year. I mean, that's, even if you play average in that category, you're talking about Nebraska being in a bowl game and winning another game or two as the season goes on. So you have that, you have the fact that they have a new quarterbacks coach in Glenn Thomas, and that in a lot of ways, everybody's starting over. I mean, Heinrich Harburg started 8 games for him last year, but he's only really been in the quarterback room for a year. He was not part of the plans of the previous staff with Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple. And I think there's also sort of an acknowledgement with Harburg that he has other abilities. I mean, he caught a pass against Minnesota in the opener last year and has, I think, other pathways to getting onto the field outside of just being a traditional quarterback. So you have that element. You have another true freshman in Daniel Kalen, who's accomplished in his own right. And as Glenn Thomas said a couple weeks ago, they're just starting to assess again the strengths of each of these quarterbacks. And then they're just now starting to pair those strengths with what a playbook could look like and starting that thing from the ground up. So it's not like Raiola's jumping into the middle of this established machine. Like, the offense that we saw last year is not going to be the offense moving forward. It's a whole different cast of principal characters, and starting everybody at even, who better than the guy again who's shown the talent at the high school level, who's shown it at national showcases, who has that experience with professional athletes his whole life. Who better than that guy to maybe hit the ground running next season?
Evan, we'll get you out here on this one, and I don't believe you and I have had this conversation yet. I know it's been talked about, but when you looked at the hiring of Glenn Thomas, a lot of that conversation shifted into, okay, what will his role be with Marcus Satterfield? Who's calling the plays? And of course, we found out later, Matt Rule, he left that with no speculation whatsoever. He's very definitive about that. But is maybe more of the underrated part of that whole shakeup the Marcus Satterfield impact on the tight ends, given what they now have in that room? Where does your head go when you think of what that could potentially look like with Marcus Satterfield, not only from the play calling aspect, but what he could do with that room?
Yeah, I thought Matt Rule, when he spoke most recently, tucked in a pretty interesting nugget about this idea that Marcus Satterfield's one of the most aggressive coaches on staff. He's going to be aggressive in his play calling. He was aggressive in his play calling last year. And that when it comes to the quarterback position, having a guy like Glenn Thomas, somebody who can maybe know when to ease off the gas a little bit or to be a little more contemplative, there's some value in that. But then you move a guy like Satterfield over to the tight ends, and maybe just from a positional standpoint, matching temperament, that's ideal for a guy like Satterfield. And you think about that attitude, that kind of go mentality paired with a guy like Thomas Fidone. that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that's a match well made between those guys. And Nate Borkerture's the same way. You bring Carter Nelson into the mix here in a few months. I think that makes sense. And then, sort of anecdotally, oftentimes when your offensive coordinator is coaching the tight ends, those guys have a way of getting a little bit more involved maybe in the offense. And that's, I think, an area that Nebraska's attack can certainly afford to grow in, with a few more looks for guys like Fedoni. And then we'll see what Carter Nelson's role is down the line, whether this season or maybe into the future. But yeah, I think just that attacking mentality, I think back to what Marcus Satterfield said at different points during last season about running the quarterback, and him, more or less his default setting was, put a shoulder into the defender and go. And maybe that's not always what you're looking for at that spot, but I think at the tight end spot, absolutely, that's a great way to go. So, big picture to me, that's an indication that Matt Rule not only is looking for the best situations for his players to put them in, but also the coaching staff.
Evan Blatt of the Omaha World Herald on the Husker baseball, football beat, and anything else probably be on the EA Sports game beat too, when that's released in July. Let's have like a release party with that, like a launch party, and people like you and I that maybe got rid of our consoles, we can try to leech onto someone else's and just have a big old blow up.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Evan, have a great weekend, man.
All right, thanks, Nick. See ya.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Some great stuff from the Husker baseball coverage going on right now.
Your gaming console?
I did. Well, so for me,
Mine
Jimmy
advocated getting another one. She's on board with this.
I don't think my wife ever. Well, actually, when I met her, I didn't have it anymore because when I was in Columbus. So you got to understand, I was 7 years in Columbus. The first couple of years, I probably spent a lot of time on the gaming console. I was playing a lot of Tiger Woods golf, a lot of Madden, and that was.
There you go. You can play the golf game. So when the weather's terrible in January, you can still
think of better days.
Yeah,
and just like in Madden and in the college football game, I always create myself as a golfer too.
You should.
But I did a lot of that. Once we moved, when I moved back to Omaha, which would have been 13, it made the move, but it never got out of a box. And then when I got my first place with my now wife, at the time girlfriend.
Your ex-girlfriend.
No, real girlfriend. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess if she's not because she's not your wife.
Yeah, she's
I guess
not your wife.
Technically true.
Your ex-fiance.
It didn't make that move. I on my own just decided to get rid of it because I mean, all I was doing was collecting dust. Hell, I don't even know if it worked. And so, I got rid. I had an Xbox, so I got rid of that. But I'm sure you could probably find one, even like a refurbished one that's probably affordable. Because I'm serious when I say I really do. If there was one game that would get me to want to return a little bit of my time to that, it would be the college football game. I love that game.
You can pass it along to somebody that now lives with you.
God, he's 3, man. I don't know if I could. If he sees me even playing that, you realize what type of issue that will now create, because then he'll want to do that all the time, and then when we tell him he can't do that,
then before
he will flip the F out. Oh, well,
Dad, hurry up and get home.
Yeah,
come on, you got to get.
I need some good competition. No, it won't be that. It'll be like, buddy, it's time to go to bed, and he will flip out.
But he
doesn't need
to. Every play.
If I do this, he doesn't need to know about it until maybe a couple more years in his life.
Then he'll have his own dynasty.
Yeah. Speaking of Tiger Woods golf, by the way, when we come back, a real quick story before we get to, we will talk about the game itself with Matt Brown. He is going to join us. We're going to get into all of that. Also, we got Vers coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. But speaking of Tiger Woods, his son Charlie was trying to qualify for a PGA event, and it was an absolute, as Gary likes to say, a gong show. I like to call it a blank show. It was a circus. He didn't qualify, but some of the things that were taking place while he was trying, as a 15-year-old, by the way, is trying to qualify for a PGA event. I'll tell you what happened in Florida coming up.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Car repair is car repair. Most places you go can change your oil or fix your brakes. The difference is the experience you'll get at Omaha Car Care. We're part of the community. We were born here. and we believe that our relationship with you should be built to last. We're going to consult you, not sell you. We're going to give you a free loaner car. We're going to treat you like a valued friend that we want to continue to see in the years to come. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
Make the right call. John Higgins Weather Car, the home of the roofery.
When it's time to replace or repair storm damage, make the right call. John Higgins Weather Guard, the local, trusted, and proven choice. No one has installed more Da Vinci roofs, and there's a reason why John Higgins Weather Guard is the nation's leader. Community member, community supporter. Make the right call.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the roofery. Make the right call.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Get pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
If you only have a 401k, you're not getting the most for retirement.
Wait, what?
Add a Robinhood IRA on top, then they'll boost it by 3%.
You can do that?
And if you transfer in any retirement account, you get 3% on top of that.
Is there a limit to the match?
No limit. Robinhood Gold gets you the biggest contribution match of any IRA on the market. Sign up for Robinhood Gold at Robinhood.com/boost by April 30th. Subscription fees apply.
Investing involves risk. 3% match requires gold for 1 year from first match. Must keep IRA for 5 years. Match on transfers subject to additional terms and conditions. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
When you wake up well-rested on a great mattress, everything becomes clear.
I do overthink everything.
Things you missed when you were tired finally reveal themselves.
I should just get fake plants.
It's the President's Day sale at Mattress Firm. Get a king bed for a queen price. Save up to $700, plus a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. See a lower price? We'll match it. The right mattress matters. We'll find yours. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Hey fans, looking for the best seats without the hidden fees? Then you need to check out Tickets for Less. Whether it's Creighton games, Husker matchups, or big-time concerts and events, they've got you covered, all with no service fees. Now, you ready to score a deal? Use the code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com and save on your next event. You prefer to go mobile? Grab the free Tickets for Less app and shop with ease. Every seat holds a story, so find yours and save when you use the promo code THEZONE at ticketsforless.com and the Tickets for Less app today.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Going to be talking about the new release of the college football game, the EA Sports, and it's got name, image, likeness with it as well. Over 11,000 student athletes with a chance to participate and get a little cheddar with that as well. We're going to be talking more about that with Matt Brown of Extra Points. We've talked to Matt before, and we're going to dig into this game with him.
Find him on Twitter. Matt was it Matt Brown
XP, I believe.
Matt Brown EP.
Or EP.
And read some of the stuff he's posted this week. It's super, super interesting. So I'm very excited to have him back on.
And real quickly before we get to him, interesting enough, and you knew this would happen, Charlie Woods, Tiger's 15-year-old son, was going for his first qualifying event for a PGA Tour event. It was a qualifier out in Florida. To sum up his day, it didn't go well. It was at Lost Lake Golf Club in Palm Beach. He shot an 86, which, hey,
better than me.
Now you're speaking my language there when shooting 86, 16 over 86. But that wasn't the big story here at the Cognizant Classic in Palm Beach. It was the people that were in attendance Tiger was not there.
Should I play Gold Digger while you tell this story?
You could. That was one of the
Wait,
issues.
He's canceled. Can't play that.
You probably shouldn't. He was accompanied by Tiger's ex-wife and his mother, Elin Nordgren, and at one point ended up having a gallery over 50 people. Now you might think, well, 50 people. I mean, come on. But I mean, this is a 15-year-old kid. This is an event that most people don't attend. Heck, most of the people that are involved in the golf course are probably still in the clubhouse doing other things. So it's not like you got this huge ticketed event. There's no ropes like you typically have at a PGA event. And so that kept people, unfortunately, that was wanting to maybe get a piece of what they thought would be history. There'd be a couple errant shots from Charlie. People would try to get the ball. People were actually coming up to him as he is going to his next shot and trying to get him to sign his father's book. I guess there was one person that kept telling the fans that you can't go in front of the cart path. Basically, the cart path was supposed to serve as sort of like the imaginary line or the ropes. And I guess a disgruntled fan asked that official, "Who are you, the fire marshal?" This one is my favorite, though.
He said he was the unsilent majority, Big Mouth.
The best story, though, that came out of this was a grandmother who found out that Charlie Woods was playing in this event. So once she found out that Charlie Woods was playing in this event, she pulled her granddaughter out of school and brought her to the event in hopes that Charlie Woods would notice her. So trying to play matchmaker.
And we don't know what said granddaughter looked like to sort of have odds on.
Yeah. And I don't know if Charlie Woods ended up noticing her or
Poor
not.
Charlie. They're probably thinking, hey, your dad has his addictions. Do you have the same? What?
Or
I
hey,
like golf.
Or hey, you are set up you already have millions of dollars and you will probably make even more millions of dollars playing a sport that you're pretty damn good in. Here's my granddaughter. What do you think?
In trade.
I mean, come on. Like
for 2 oxen and steed.
It was just ridiculous. And it sounded like
right,
Charlie
Grandma
Woods,
Pimp,
who was clearly frustrated with the overall day that he had. A lot of double bogeys, a lot of there was, I think on number 11, he ended up recording a 12 on the card. So this obviously wasn't the type of day, but this is a guy who literally got his learner's permit 2 weeks ago.
Well, congratulations, Charlie.
And you've got all of that going on. So this is for
and congratulations.
Better days ahead for Charlie Woods on the golf course. But as far as the people that were apparently just completely oblivious that this is still a 15-year-old kid who's trying to qualify for a PGA event, they didn't care. They needed to better themselves by either pawning off their granddaughter to possibly go on a date with them or getting an autographed book from Charlie Woods, the Tiger Woods book. Like, come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing? All right, we are going to find out what's going on with the EA Sports college football game that is set to be released in July, how it impacts student athletes this time around, what will look different, and all of the different ways that this thing has become a cult following. We will do that coming up next with Matt Brown of Extra Points here on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the NRG Media Time Saving Traffic Center, there's a couple of accidents reported in West Omaha. One of them is located on westbound Dodge between 168th and 180th. The other one's located on southbound 168th before Pacific. Everything else is smooth sailing. Just expect slow traffic on eastbound Dodge from 90th to 72nd. And be sure to buckle up and drive safe out there. I'm Joey Colbert.
Time-saving traffic is brought to you by Omaha Transmission.
If you're having transmission problems, you need a specialist. Call Omaha Transmission and see why people have been recommending them for almost 20 years.
Omaha Transmission, shifting to running smooth.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. We're in the middle of the best time of the year of basketball season, with meaningful games every night, with 40 TVs and massive dual projectors. The games have never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout, 162nd and Maple.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
It's easy to see. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. We all know something big is coming, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming more self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, and they make it easy for you to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure some emergency food kits. There's a dozen to choose from that contain tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells large solar generators, gravity-powered water filtration systems, heirloom seeds for your garden, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items will ship that same day. Time is short. Prepare today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com.
Your Creighton Blue Jays are home this Wednesday to take on Seton Hall at 8 p.m. for a bide night and a blue out. Limited tickets are still available for this primetime Wednesday night matchup and can be purchased in advance at gocreighton.com or in person at the CHI Health Center Omaha box office.
Spring, it's the reward for surviving another winter. Fernando's, it's the reward for any day that ends in Y. Great Mexican food, awesome margaritas, and a wonderful family atmosphere. Fernando's, Omaha's favorite Mexican for more than 30 years.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, final hour, going to be talking to Matt Verzal in about 25 minutes or so. Also get some final thoughts on the weekend that will be in college basketball. Mentioned the Summit League tournament is just about 2 weeks. In fact, it is exactly 2 weeks away. And that could go either way for the Omaha men's basketball team. They could be as low as a 7, as high as a 3 seed, based on my calculations and what's realistic. So lots of stuff going on just outside of both Nebraska and Creighton, but with Omaha as well. We've been talking about it. It's been kind of a theme here, not only today, but the last couple of weeks since we knew of the launch date of the new college football game at EA Sports is doing it, and they are coming back even stronger now with the element of what was its undoing, which, as we know, that was the O'Bannon case, the lawsuit. It involved a former Husker quarterback and Sam Keller as well, and now student athletes in 2024 can get paid for their name, image, likeness to be a part of this game. We are going to talk about this with Matt Brown of Extra Points. Matt, we welcome you back on the show, my man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. This has been a busier than expected week for me in my beat, as you might imagine, but it beats the heck out of being bored, right?
Yes.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
And we get to talk about a video game that I first want to go back. Matt, I'm not sure if you're a major gamer, if you were, if you still are. But this, for me personally, especially in high school and then going into college, I mean, you talk about the biggest time vampire. It was this game. It was Madden and Tiger Woods golf for me. And now I've kind of adulted. I'm a father and a husband. Yeah. I don't have time for it. But I got to say, July comes around, I might be looking to repurchase whether it's a refurbished or a brand new gaming console, because this has got me excited.
It's so funny because I think what you have described there is the absolute core demographic of the people that are most excited about this game. I'm in the same boat, right? I'm almost 37 years old, and I probably missed out on graduate school in part because of this game.
Same.
Right? This is how I spent a lot of year 20 instead of maybe going to class. But same thing, right? Full time, reporter, small businessman, father, husband, all that stuff. And I've been telling my readers, when this comes out, and I'm sure I'm going to go play online like everybody else, and I'm going to get stuffed into a garbage can by some 15-year-old with no responsibilities. That's the circle of life, right? I'm interested in this because not just my readers are interested in it, but I think it's a really important labor and business and tech story. But there's a lot of nostalgia fueling this, because if you're in your late 20s to early 40s, the original version of these games are foundational to you.
I turned 41 here in a few weeks, and so that you're speaking my language. I was in college, early 2000s, mid 2000s, and I can just still see my room and all my buddies. And you had plans of doing things that night, and before you know it, it's 4:00 in the morning, and you haven't left the apartment, and you're like, "Wait, what happened?" But yet this was so much fun.
Yeah, that's what it was. Well, sorry I missed our date, honey. I had to take Vanderbilt to the Sugar Bowl. You understand, right?
As my wife used to say, because I'm a Kansas alum and I used to work there, she used to always say back in the day, so this is when the last game came out, so Charlie Weiss, who we try to forget, was the coach at Kansas at the time, and she goes, the real KU football team beat West Virginia one day, and I remember her posting on social media that I only thought they could win in Jimmy's video game, but here they won in real life, so which was true.
Yeah, there will be tens of thousands of these stories here later this summer, unquestionably.
Well, and Matt, the whole, I guess we're now finally months away from this. We knew that the path had been cleared to bring this game back, but it seemed like it had been a while since we were able to really find out any type of launch date, when this would actually become a reality. Based on what you've seen, what has been the biggest hoops that have had to really been cleared to finally get to this point where we're going to have this game in July?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of consumer and fan misunderstandings about how these kind of games work. I think there were a lot of people that thought, look, we had a college football game from 2014 on the Xbox 360. Why can't you just Control C all that code, Control V in the new Xbox,
right,
change the graphics a little bit, and this thing should be done in 6 months. And the reality is, and I've had multiple devs at EA tell me this, literally nothing from the last game can be used in this game. The architecture is too different. And also, many of the people that built the last game aren't there anymore, right? Anybody that works in software knows that when a lot of people leave and you go back and it's not well documented, you don't know how to maintain it. So you're essentially building entirely new AAA video game IP from the ground up. You have an engine, you have a little bit of stuff you can use from Madden, but far less than I think fans appreciate. So that's a major technical achievement and task. The other thing that I don't think I appreciate until I began to talk to more people at the company is that one of the most difficult things to do, honestly, is to render every single stadium. That is a huge, takes a ton of processing power, a lot of design and animator time. So EA asked everybody, all 134 SBS institutions, to take hundreds and hundreds of photographs of every stadium from every conceivable angle, get inside the locker room, get the tunnel, get the buildings outside of the stadium, so they can render it again and now in all of its glory here on a PlayStation 5. And that process started 2 years ago, to have enough time to go get everybody in there. And hopefully we'll be able to see examples of what that looks like very soon. I think people are going to be impressed.
Now, this is a genuine question because I haven't truly digged into this purposely. I guess I've dug into this is what I meant to say. But are you going to need a PS5 to play this game?
You're going to need a next generation console of this game. It's not going to be on PlayStation 4. It's not going to be on the Nintendo Switch. And that's not a greed thing here. Like that. That's how this is the new generation of consoles have been out for a couple of years. That's how all the new video games are going to be.
Yeah. Is there? You mentioned how this is basically being built back up from the ground up. We know with so many different tech companies, We know that it's obviously also you can go to college now in the scholarship when it comes to esports.
Yeah.
Everything in gaming has changed from when we used to remember this game. Do you think that will have a positive impact on this particular layout and how it looks for your common user?
I do actually, right? And I think that's one of the really fascinating both sports and kind of tech questions about the development of this game, because obviously video games and the video game business and how users interact with games have changed a lot since 2014, but so has college sports, right? I mean, we have some very, basic recruiting changes. The last time we had this game, there was one national signing day. People almost never transferred. NIL didn't exist. And obviously how you build a roster now has to be completely different. So recruiting is going to look very different. The game itself has changed, right? We have different clock rules. The playbooks have a way wider variety in college than they do in the NFL. The animations are going to be different. So you have to be able to depict that. And then you go, okay, and how do we bring this up to speed with modern technology, modern engines, and online play, which also was kind of in its infancy, really during the last couple of college football games. So it's a major change. But what I can say to fans is that EA is spending just a ton of time and money to try and make their depiction of college football as realistic as possible to what college football looks like right now, which I think should be pretty exciting.
If there's, and I do want to get to the student athlete benefit of this too. Now, the way I understand it, I believe it's at least $600 per student athlete. You get a copy of the game.
Yep.
Is this something that, and I mean, that goes to the tune of, over 11,000 student athletes, roughly over $6 million. But if you look at what this game will probably gross when it comes to its overall popularity, does that number seem, for what the student athlete is getting for their name, image, likeness, does that seem to be maybe the best way to put it is, either low, or is that kind of the market value? I mean, how are we able to sort of decide whether that's fair or unfair?
It is a really, really good and important question. And, so first, let me preface it with this. One of the major differences between this deal and every other video game licensing deal is that what we have for the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball and hockey and everything else, those deals are brokered by a players' union.
Mm-hmm.
The union selects some licensing agent or some third party to do the negotiation. The players tell that licensing agent, hey, here are the things that are most important to us, and they haggle on and create a deal. That didn't happen in college because there's no union in college. Right now, this will probably change in 18 months, but right now, college athletes aren't employees. And they don't have a trade association or membership group that has anywhere near the scale to generate anything like that. So One Team Partners was kind of hired by EA. It's basically a management picking who they're negotiating with. So unquestionably, that relates to part of the reason why the top line number isn't very high. But the other challenge here is that it's actually, I think, very difficult to figure out what fair market value is because the market hasn't been set. And it hasn't been set on one hand because we haven't had this game in 11 years. We actually, and I say we, meaning like the college sports industry, don't totally know how much revenue this game's going to bring in. It's not going to, no legitimate analyst I've spoken to expects it to sell anywhere near as many copies as Madden, which I know is going to sound confusing in a market like Nebraska, or if I'm in Starkville, people are like, "What? Like, of course, college football is more popular." I'm like, "Well, Madden's popular globally, and they've been doing this for a longer time." And there's a far smaller. I mean, the number of licensees in these other games is way tinier. There's less than 2,000 people in Madden.
Mm-hmm.
There's 11,000 plus people in this game, and when you play college football, as I think most listeners here are probably nodding in their cars, you're usually playing Dynasty, which means after 6 hours, all of these people have graduated and you're playing with made up people. And when you play Madden, you're going to have Pat Mahomes on your team for, 8 seasons before things change. So the individual negotiating power for each athlete is down. This is going to be a big talking point in the athlete labor rights movement and the athlete organizations. You're already seeing agents and some attorneys and some professors deeply criticize this deal. I'm going to be interested in how people are able to use this to either galvanize and organize athletes for a future deal, or whether this comes off as too heavy-handed, because I think you and I both know. And next time you guys talk to some Cornhusker players, I imagine many of them will tell you there's going to be a lot of dudes who would do this for free.
Yeah.
Right. There's not going to be,
100%.
you're not going to be expecting a lot of people to hold out over $600, especially because the Stars get a separate marketing deal.
Not going to lie, Matt, I'm one of the people you're talking to because I can still very much remember the name of the quarterback that helped me lead Kansas to a Rose Bowl championship 20 years ago after my players had cycled out and I had to recruit.
Yeah.
And oh man, it was great. I was coach of the year. We were a cover of Sports Illustrated because that was a feature on a couple of the EA games when I was in school. Is there fear that this could be one of those deals where this game, it's a one-off, like 1 year type deal where there's just too many logistical nightmares that they cannot continue this? Or is this basically a year by year basis, or, hey, we're just going to see how it goes, but the hard part here is getting it started again?
The hard part's getting it started, but based on the documentation that I've inspected and the conversations I've had with EA and various licensing agents, the assumption from everybody right now is that this is an annual release. When they've reached out to Nebraska, when they've reached out to Ohio State and Michigan and everybody else to secure the school's IP, they've been positioning it as a multi-year licensing agreement. And so I would expect there to be an EA College Football 26 and EA College Football 27 moving forward. I would be very surprised if this game is not a commercial success, especially because there will be DLC and there will be an Ultimate Team and there'll be a way for EA to make money from digital goods beyond the point of sale. It's a more interesting question about what the sales cycle and trajectory looks like after this year, after they kind of work out the kinks and see if they can make some of the logistical stuff a little bit easier.
It's interesting, Matt. I feel like there was a time that, for obvious reasons, that college football, they never wanted to be able to sort of coexist. I mean, the NCAA, I should say, never really wanted to coexist with something like this if the players were being paid. But now it's hard for me not to imagine, as we look at the new expanded college football playoff, we look at the bowl system, that EA Sports not only will have a pretty significant presence when it comes to the gaming side of it, but I could see a lot of coexisting when it comes to the big stage events for NCAA football, whether we're talking about the college football playoff, whether we're talking about a Rose Bowl or an Orange Bowl or whatever some of the most prestigious bowls are, that EA Sports will probably actually have some type of presence, whether they're sponsoring a bowl or what have you. It just seems like it's kind of like sports gambling, how everybody was against it. They turned their back on it. They didn't want anything to do with it. Now we have sports franchises in Vegas, and now you have NFL, Major League Baseball partnering with places like FanDuel and DraftKings and everywhere.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good comparison. I want to say Sega Sports, I think, actually did used to sponsor a bowl game.
Yeah.
Back in the day. One of the things that I think maybe some fans might not appreciate, but I've definitely heard this from enough industry people, is that the schools themselves are as excited about this game coming back as the players are. And a major reason for it isn't from the licensing money that they get. Like Nebraska is getting a surprisingly little amount of money from EA Sports directly based on the contracts that I've inspected. But what Nebraska's going to get, what everybody's going to get, is something that they can't effectively buy right now, which is a ton of marketing awareness campaigns, particularly for people under 25. Like, I don't think this is maybe as much of an issue specifically with Nebraska. You guys might know better than I would, but for a lot of schools in this country, they're really worried about future enrollment.
Yeah.
They're worried about their ability to recruit other students because the places like Nebraska and Kansas and North Dakota don't produce a ton of college-bound high school students, and so they're trying to get people from all over the country. And this video game is a way to get what makes Lincoln cool and what makes Nebraska cool and significant in the eyeballs and people across the country. And the idea isn't, oh my gosh, we're going to get some kid in Phoenix or Dallas to come to Nebraska because they played us in the video game. But the thinking is, we hope to get that kid in Dallas to open the letter we sent him when he's 16 because he saw us in the video game and remembers us. And then he falls in love with everything else that our school has to offer. And that's why people spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on billboards and direct mail campaigns. And they send recruiters across the country and they're trying to drum up licensing deals. And this video game is going to be critical to reaching out to Gen Z, which is a generation that doesn't relate to college sports fandom the same way that you and I do. And if that means you have to put EA Sports on a stage with you, by God, a lot of schools are going to be happy to do it.
Matt, great stuff. We could talk about this for hours. I hope we can catch up as we get a little closer. I know there's going to be a new trailer in May. The release is going to be in July. And so hopefully as we get more information, we can talk to you more about this and some great information that I know you're covering and putting out there as well. Really appreciate you spending time with us today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thanks, fellas.
That is Matt Brown. Extra points and already some great write-ups on the tech that goes into this too. There's so much. I'm serious, Jimmy. We could have talked to him for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
on this, because I think that the important thing to remember is this is being built up from scratch. So when you remember the way that you enjoyed EA Sports College Football and how you will enjoy the new game, it's going to be a lot different. I mean, there's probably going to be some things that look somewhat similar, but all of the finite details that they're putting into this, and now not having to worry about when it comes to the player likeness, the name, image, likeness, and all of that you can just roll right in. You don't need a special code to insert the roster. It's going to be cool, but very fascinating as far as a lot of the questions that do remain unanswered on where this continues to go when it comes to student athlete name, image, likeness. We're a little bit behind, so we're going to get to Vers coming up right after the break here, and we'll have some more thoughts on the weekend, big college basketball weekend as well before we get out of here on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. The Connor Happer Show.
The first time I ever did the Mel Kiper Jr. impression on TV, as though it was part of the draft. They didn't announce it as a comedic bit or anything. He says his name all the time. He does say McShay. He does say McShay, but it's not as funny as saying Todd. And they kept going, Todd. Say your name over and over and over. Hit the D hard. Todd.
Yeah, in a way, you've like ruined all Todds. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Becoming breezy and slightly cooler Friday, but still plenty mild as we wrap up the week. Expect sunshine early on, then becoming partly sunny mid-morning as northwest winds pick up, gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour, highs in the upper 50s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV News Watch 7.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees, The Source, by your mom's house.
If you're looking for a safe and reliable vehicle to get you through all types of winter weather and more, Baxter Subaru has you covered. Symmetrical all-wheel drive comes standard on nearly all Subaru models and provides you better traction, improved stability, and maximized performance on wet and snowy roads. So hop in the driver's seat of a new Outback, Forester, or Crosstrek now at Baxter Subaru Omaha. Shop our great sales and service deals now during the Subaru A Lot to Love event at BaxterSubaruOmaha.com.
You can find pizza anywhere. But when you want pizza pie piled high with more toppings, that's when you come to my place, Godfather's Pizza. For a limited time, get your hands on 2 of my large one-topping pizzas. Pick pepperoni, beef, black olives, you choose. All this food for only $30. Feed your whole mob without breaking the bank. Hey, it's an offer you can't refuse. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Time to talk to Matt Vrzal here on a Friday, 1620 The Zone. And Verz, I don't know if you had a chance to catch our last conversation. We were, as you like to say, the big brains were out. We were kind of nerding out. I know we asked you about the EA Sports college football game that will be released in July. Now we're getting a little bit more details on what student athletes are going to make $600 per student athlete, and they get a free copy of the game as well. You brought up something last time we talked about this on the type of impact that game and those types of games can have when it comes to coaching too, which I thought was really interesting. But when you think of players student athletes getting $600 in a copy of the game, immediately, what do you think? Especially that this game was available when you were playing college football.
Seems low.
I think so too.
To me, but they have all 134 teams, so, and then it is an opt-in kind of thing, so you have to like sign some paperwork or something. So maybe they're planning on some dummies not filling it out or whatever. I don't know though, if you don't fill it out, do they pull you out of the game?
I think they have to, because you have to, like you said, you have to opt in. So I would assume you have to, right?
I mean, I don't know how much. I don't even know how much video games cost.
$70, what we heard. That one will run you $70.
So you're $670 to, yeah, not bad. Better than nothing.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, everybody on the roster should sign up for some of the kids that need the financial assistance. It'd be great.
If you were offered that, well, I should say, if anybody's offered, you're not going to turn it down. But is that a situation if someone, when you were playing college football, they said, hey, we want to be able to use, not only your number, but we want to put Verzal on the back of a jersey in this game. Are you cool with that? We're not going to pay you or anything. Maybe we'll give you a free copy of the game, but we're not going to pay you. Would you and your teammates have been okay with that?
I think so. It wasn't. We were more concerned with what we were going to do on the field than what was kind of going on off the field. We knew that, the relationships and the things that we were building and the winning of games and that stuff probably added up a little bit higher than that would have been nice to have gotten money from it. Yeah. I mean, I had teammates that probably needed it. I probably could have used it, but we had fun. It was just cool to be on it.
Right.
Because I know I substituted myself in as soon as that baby turned on. So
did you ever look at like maybe what your skill set was too and try to increase or decrease certain areas, or was it pretty accurate?
Actually, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They had way oversold what I could do. So that was great.
He just annihilated 3 dudes.
They were getting like insight from like assistant coaches during the offseason to find out like where you were really excelling.
I don't know, or I have some family member that used to work at EA Sports.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. So for people who missed what you brought up, because I really did think it was an interesting take on, as much as we can talk about the video game culture, you can get scholarships now to be an e-gamer, esports, which is just completely foreign to me. You brought up something interesting though about how this, being involved in the game, and understanding coverages and understanding different strategies and what's available to you, which with this new game sounds like there's going to be more of an expansive playbook and everything from the offense to the defense, how that could impact younger people in getting into coaching. Can you kind of, again, sort of elaborate on those thoughts? Because I thought it was a take that I have not heard when it came to the popularity and the excitement of this game being released in July.
So here's the thing. Like, if you work with young people and we have a position here at Pisons where if you want to go on your phone, as long as you're in that area, you will not get your ass chewed.
Mm-hmm.
If you are outside of that area, you will get your ass chewed, because I think it's a very unprofessional look. They will say, but you're on your phone. I said, when your name is on the bills, then you can look at your phone wherever you want. But to tell a kid, hey, you're wasting your time playing video games. It's dumb. It doesn't make any sense. It's a pointless venture. But if you're playing games that are appropriate to what you want to accomplish, I'm 100%. Some of the best football minds that I know are way good at those games. Way good at Madden and NCAA and all that kind of stuff. So why fight it? Why not? Because I don't think kids get engulfed in games anymore. I think sometimes they do it because they feel they have to. I play football because I play basketball because I do this. They're never consumed by it. Now, you cannot be consumed by it and go a long way just because you're a freak talent-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go even further when you really like truly love the game. And so if that means like you go to school, you go to practice, you come home and you're playing football video game, yeah, it's only going to expand your mind. Especially now, I think they have the actual playbooks for your team. So it's a great way to, well, there's a great video out on Luke Kuechly, right? Luke Kuechly and the amazing thing he does.
Mm-hmm.
Even the use of the controller that they're using to rewind and watch film is a gaming controller.
Yeah.
So just the knowledge of that to make that film study easy, because to me, that's an easy transition. Hey, you played this football game for this long. Yeah, I did. What'd you learn? Okay, I learned that if I run this cover 2, this is a cover 2 beater. If it's third and short, this team wants to get in this defense, and I think we can have success running the football this way.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have football discussions where you're not just telling them what to do. There's an actual back and forth. Spagnuolo talked about it on McAfee that when they were getting ready to, it was a 3rd and 4, and then the Niners ran it down with a 2-minute warning. I can never pronounce their starting middle linebacker's name right, but they came over and talked, and he said, hey, I'm thinking of changing it to this. That guy said, that's the call. I love that call.
Yeah.
Like, you will never know how good a coach feels when you can have a football discussion with a player. Because now you're not just telling them what to do. They're in the game with you. They're understanding what's going on. Damon, a while back when we won a state championship against Scotts Bluff, he texted me during halftime. He said, are you running toss 3 different ways? I said, no. He said, you're lying. I said, I'm not lying. I said, the boys have autonomy to call it however they want to call it.
Mm.
So if the defense lines up in this defense, they can run it this way. If they line up in this defense, they can run it this way. So now I don't have to be out there. I don't have to micromanage. They're in the game. They get it. They're making their own calls. They're doing their own thing. We're calling the play, and they're calling the blocking. So anything to expand their brains into thinking about the game of football outside of I have to run over there because this old man told me to is crazy beneficial.
Yeah, it's a great point of people, and I'll admit sometimes I've been in that mindset of, how is playing video games going to, benefit you? But I think that there's a good example, and it kind of, I want to transition to something you brought up there too, as far as when you do have someone who is naturally gifted on the football field, but how much they're more robotic of what they're just hearing from their coaches and their body just reacts to that, as opposed to being able to step out for a moment, whether they play running back, whether they're offensive line, quarterback, whatever the position is, that they're able to kind of step back and understand not only what their coach is telling them, but it just makes sense because they kind of have that part of their brain working. You see it you played it obviously at the collegiate level, but also at the high school level. How rare is that where you sort of get the best of both worlds, where you have, okay, this guy's really talented, but he also understands. It's not he's just doing what we're asking. He understands the why.
If you can have, anymore, if you have 2 or 3 that really get it in that manner, you're probably ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But again, it's not, I don't fault the kid.
Sure.
I will always fault the adult. If you look at how these youth organizations are run, they're not run to teach them the game. They're run to teach them to win, all due respect, a pointless 11U football game. They're taught to go win that game. And I've said it many a time on this airways. Lance Brown had the best organization set up ever. But his side of the structure of the organization did not work out very well, because you can't call parents on Wednesday and say, hey, we're playing in Kansas City on Thursday. But when they were young, it was mandatory. Every kid played every position.
Mm-hmm.
So one series, you could be the quarterback. The next series, you could be the center. So you best know what that center does. And you bet now, if you look at the guys that came out of that program, and now they're all playing high-level college football, it's pretty impressive. But to teach them how to do everything instead of, and if you got little Johnny that wants to throw a hissy fit, then you give Johnny's mommy her check back and say, hey, we wish you all the best to somebody else's team.
Yeah.
When Johnny burns out in junior high, don't say we didn't tell you so. So it's just it's a thing that the structures of them aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
And then you watch the kid goes on to somewhere and they don't have success, and then the hissy fit happens there, and then the coach is like, later, dude, we don't care.
Right.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Like, we ain't got time for this. So it's teaching them to be successful fully on in life. You have to be a part of a team. You can't do it all on your own. And you may not win every game, but you know what? If you learn the concept down the road, it's going to pay a dividend.
Yeah.
Bennington does a great job with their youth football, and they're doing awesome. You know, Gross a couple years back had a really, really solid youth program, and they were in the state championship game. Like, those things matter when you got guys that are committed to teach the kid the game. Nick Danzy, who I've coached with for a few years, has been an absolute honor. The guy's a rock star.
Nick was one of my football coaches when I was at Millard West too, so I have nothing but respect for Dan's.
He's coached little guy baseball.
Yep.
And I said, what are your goals when you coach those young kids? He goes, I got 2 goals. He goes, did they have fun, and did they sign up? Or he said, did they learn fundamentals, and did they sign up for next year?
Yeah.
He said, and you'd be amazed that if I can accomplish those 2 things, how much we win. He said, we didn't focus any on winning. He said, we focused on them learning the fundamentals of the game. And did they enjoy it enough to sign up again the next year? He goes, that's it. He goes, because if I got a kid that wants to hang a 7U trophy, that ain't my kind of kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want him to be good at the game of baseball. I want him to love baseball like I do. Yeah. So that was, it's been awesome to get the chance to coach with he and Coach Stewart as well. It's changed kind of how I operated.
Can you do a Danzy impression with that distinct voice?
I'm not good at it at all.
You've tried though, haven't you?
Well, I gotta have a couple in me to do it. So.
Danzy is.
I've got a couple guys that can do it pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
You remember you brought up, it was when you were in Grand Island. I asked you, it was like Mr. Islander or Mr. Grand Island? I can't remember what the
Mr. Islander.
Mr. Islander. Okay. So you'll have to ask Dan's. We had Mr. Millard West, and it was an actual pageant, and he was the MC, and he would throw in words like debonair, yet he was wearing like a Lycra spandex outfit while doing this. It was incredible.
Oh, I've heard.
He is a treasure.
Danzy has a book club with the old retired coaches.
Yeah.
And Pisons is one of the stops on the book club. Now, they don't talk about a book, but they come in and drink about 42 beers and have some pizza and some pasta. But, yeah, I've heard a lot of stories. It's been awesome. We're happy to be one of the stops on the book club tour.
That's good stuff. What do you got this weekend?
Nothing, man. Just work.
All right.
Ain't nothing going on but the rent, boys.
It's all it's about. Appreciate it. Verz, as always, appreciate your thoughts. Great conversation, too, because I remember you bringing up that thing about how it does kind of expand your knowledge with the game. And I think for people who sometimes, especially old school people, like people would consider you, Verz, as an old school guy. I think that is great perspective on how that can benefit, especially kids when we think, get outside and go do something. Well, maybe they actually are helping their craft a little bit.
The part that they don't want to glass, like the boys that I work with will tell you, you got to sit in proper posture. Your shoulders got to be back. Your lats got to be engaged. Your core's got to be engaged. You can't be hunched over doing it.
Yeah.
They don't like that part as much.
And limit the Mountain Dew.
Probably, yeah.
Good stuff, Verz. Have a great weekend, man.
Bye, boys.
It's Matt Verzal. He's also much like Nick Danzy, who he's talking about. Dan's was, when I was at Millard South, he was baseball and a football coach there. Got to be around him then, also at Millard West. He is amazing. His voice, for everybody who knows Nick Danzy, it's his own. It's a little gravelly. It's been that way for as long as I've known him, and he is maybe one of the best smartasses you'll ever know too.
Reminds me of one of my favorite coaches I interviewed. We were doing a game, and he comes on, and they're a really good team. And I asked, Coach, you guys are undefeated, blah, blah, blah. And first thing he goes, Oh, I don't know.
Sounds like Lou Brown.
We have some nice kids, and but it's our staff and our community. And it's just like, damn, you're amazing. You're not even acting. This is legitimately how he felt. But yeah.
Yeah, I forget that Vers works, and that's got to be a great pairing.
What Vers said is very cool about a lot of these kids, and that people, at least of our generation, our elders when we were younger would criticize us for playing those damn video games.
Yeah.
Blah blah.
Get
blah,
outside, play some football.
But it can teach the game.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's
one of my
part
friends
of this.
said that in high school. You can tell, and I learned a lot about the game even from playing that game, because he would walk me through some of the things like, well, I'm in cover 2 here, and what you were going to call or what you ran on that last play, you can't do that because my linebacker will step right in front. And so I get what he's saying. That's very cool. This was a cool hour. Positive Friday. This is all you, Nick.
I admit that I'm one of those people that never understood like how esports could be a scholarship, like and the popularity of it. I've come around in the way of thinking of what it can do if you go about it the right way.
You might not have to pay for college.
Well, there is that, but to not maybe be so old school on,
but yeah,
all you're doing is wasting your time. It's a time vampire. Like if you're going about it the right way and it allows your mind to expand as far as, strategy in certain situations or being able to just have like, critical thinking in certain situations. There's obviously benefit to it, but I thought what Vers said, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago when we brought this up, we talked about how it can, help you understand a playbook better. It can help you understand anticipation. It is. He's
Why
right. Like I think.
Why did you do this?
I remember we were watching the Nebraska sort of all access shows, and when they were in the film room eating wings, they had like the clicker watching film, and it's basically a video game controller.
Sean Payton would call a play and he'd ask, "Do you like it?" And then he goes, "Do you love it?" Getting your input, because then it's player led. They become invested in the process, and I think that stuff's
anything that goes, in the effort of understanding the game and not just the position, understanding the why, not just your why, but also the why of the side of the football you're on and the team. Like it's all the better. It's good stuff.
And besides what you're saying about wasting time, we're all wasting time till they send us to the glue factory. It's just a matter of how we waste that time.
Wow. We had to, jeez.
I'm just saying, that sounds negative.
Putting us out to pasture.
It sounds negative, but it's actually positive. It's wasting time. That's all objective. It can happen any way you want.
So wasting time can be a good thing.
Yeah. But in this case, but did it make the person, are you happy? Are you doing well? Actually, yes. Then it's good.
Well, that's true.
Then you're having a great day. As I look outside the window onto Dodge, and I don't see a cloud in the sky. So it is a beautiful
all I know is
day.
you just brought up when we all go to the glue factory. So.
Well, I didn't say the obvious. Hey, when they die and throw us in the grass, I said glue factory. I could have said, when they take us out back and shoot us. I could no, it's.
If I was like a horse, that would have happened a long time ago. I'm like, no, sorry. You got that bad wheel. You got that bad
ankle.
ankle.
Promo last year about Mahomes getting injured in the Jacksonville playoff game.
Yeah.
If he was a horse, they would have took him out back and shot him.
Yeah.
Bring in Chad Henne.
He's no good. All right, we'll come back, wrap things up, give you some final thoughts on blue Nebraska, red Nebraska, black Nebraska, and all other things.
All of the Nebraska.
All of them going on. Coming up.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Here at the Salvation Army of Omaha, providing food to families in need is one of the most important things we do. And this year, the demand for food is on the rise at our Omaha Pantry. That's why we're teaming up with 6 News WOWT for the Love Beyond Hunger food drive. There are 2 ways you can donate. Bring non-perishable items to our in-person food drive event at 87th and Dodge on March 14, or just donate online right now at salarmyfooddrive.org. That's salarmyfooddrive.org. Thanks for your support.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software. Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who have switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
Your Creighton Blue Jays are home this Wednesday to take on Seton Hall at 8 p.m. for a bye night and a blue out. Limited tickets are still available for this primetime Wednesday night matchup and can be purchased in advance at gocreighton.com or in person at the CHI Health Center Omaha box office.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is $50 in vouchers for only $25 to Lula Bee's Breakfast Brunch and Bar. Lula Bee's has everything from French toast and omelets to shrimp tacos and burgers. There's even a full bar with uniquely inspired cocktails. Lula Bee's has a festively decorated party room for celebrations or just brunch with all of your friends. Lula Bee's, 9th and Dodge, or at lulabeesomaha.com.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Velocity Clinical Research in Omaha frequently conducts clinical trials for a broad range of investigational treatments. Typical studies involve medications for acne, allergies, chronic diseases, depression, and others. They also perform vaccine studies for people of all ages, conducting innovative research that has a positive impact on lives. Click for current trials at velocityclinicaltrials.com. More trials are launching in March. Compensation for study-related time and travel. Find out more at velocityclinicaltrials.com.
Shop Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram during Ram Truck Month and save on the entire lineup of heavy-duty trucks. Like the powerful and capable new Ram 3500 with an array of safety and tech features that will take your driving experience to the next level. Right now, get up to $15,500 off MSRP on our lineup of 2024 Ram 2500s and 2024 Ram 3500s. The most advanced Ram heavy-duty pickups ever. Get started today at WoodhouseCDJRBellevue.com or WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com to find your next truck. Based on standard and available features offered with approved credit, tax title license extra. Woodhouse discount of $3,644. Manufacturer incentive of $9,856. $1,000 for qualifying trade and $1,000 when financed through Chrysler Capital. $299 doc fee to its signing. Offer expires 2/29/24. See dealer for details.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Good stuff from all of our guests today. Big thanks to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, Matt Brown with Extra Points, Matt Verzal joining us. Good topics, good conversations.
We nerded out.
We did nerd out on the gaming part of it.
And now I got to buy a PS5. That's what I take away from it.
I did not know that.
I'm going to have to tell my wife that, which she'll be a supporter of it because she's excited about me getting the video game.
I would have just tried to find my old Xbox that I had and like, why doesn't it work? Yeah,
we have a 4.
For a rude awakening. I didn't even know.
Do you want a 4?
Honestly, Jimmy, I had no idea they're up to 5.
I did because I knew younger people back in the day and they would talk about it.
Yep.
I used to be in tune with the youth.
I think my last one, I had like an Xbox 2. Maybe?
I still remember buying a PS2 in the fall of 03 and buying NCAA football 04.
Yeah.
And that was an impromptu purchase with scholarship money.
That's probably the last one I had. And so it's probably a good thing that I don't have it because it's probably be very obsolete right
now. Got a 3 gifted to me in 09 by a guy who wanted to upgrade to something else. So he just gave it to me for free, who worked with us at a radio station I was at. And then, bought the 4 because we were going to watch a movie on the 3. It's about 10 years ago, and the damn thing broke. So we just went to Target and bought a new one. I was like, well, #blessed. And my wife had said, well, at least then you'll have a console for the video game. So this must have been 13. And we're going to buy 5 now.
It was always nice, and you could do the game and the DVDs on it
so
as well.
After we're done here, I'm going upstairs to ask for a raise.
There you go. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Radio replay, if you missed any of it, really appreciate all of our guests.
And it was good, too.
It was good. I enjoyed it. All right, real quick, what do you got for the weekend as far as Creighton and Nebraska? Is it a 2-0, 1-1, 0-2?
It's going to be 3-0 this weekend.
Throwing in Black Nebraska?
Everybody wins.
Okay, everybody wins.
Tonight at the pit, everybody gets laid.
I got Minnesota beating Nebraska on Sunday, and if you don't know why, then you're not in on the bit, but we're going to keep it rolling.
Yep. Nick has Minnesota 137, Nebraska 1.
Big matchup Sunday afternoon. Big matchup Sunday morning-ish for Creighton as well. We'll talk about it on Monday. The crossover and the Connor Happer Show is all coming up next. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the weather, and also big hockey series this weekend. Hopefully we'll see you out at Baxter Arena as well.
And
for Jimmy,
happy 15th birthday to the puppy.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
All right. And, well, I won't be here on Monday, but I got a happy birthday to my wife is why I will be gone, too.
Congratulations on the nap.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
No, I'm serious. Nap, because the kids at daycare, they're going to rest.
It'll be
74 Monday. You two should go hit a few golf balls.
There'll be some outdoor activities for sure. All right, have a great one. We'll see you on Monday here for Jimmy. I'm Nick. You've been listening to Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy, 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.